Welcome everybody. This is the tie breaks at the Women's Candidate Tournament Pool 1, and here we are to see a show today, hopefully, and really nice games. I am happy to join Grandmaster Irina Crush, and I myself, Women Grandmaster Katie Tazalashvili. So, hello, Irina.
Hi, Ketty. Yeah, guys, we're in for an exciting day of chess as this is going to be a really important day for Humpy Koneru and Anna Muzychuk to see who's going to move on in the Women's World Championship cycle, who's going to win this quarterfinal match. Anna did a heroic effort yesterday in order to come back in this match from being a point behind. She made it, she forced these tie breaks to happen. And let's talk a little bit about the tie break format for today. We have 4 rapid games, 15 plus
That's
10.
right.
If they are still tied, they're going to be going into blitz, 2 games of 5 plus 3. And then if that's still tied, they're going to be playing 3 plus 2 until someone actually wins the first game. They will alternate colors then. I don't know if we're going to go that far, Ketty. I do think that we will see a winner in the rapid portion. That's very likely. What do you think?
Oh, I think we might go to the Blitz section as well because Irina, we have these two players who are well known by their skills to play rapid games, and both of them are world rapid champions. Connor Humpy is a rapid champion in 2015, and Anna is rapid champion in 2014. So those two world champions in rapids, they are facing today each other, and I was trying to search for some statistics, and to be honest, they are so close, and
Hmm.
anything can happen. So my bet is to go to the blitz portion as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely possible. The only thing I guess that would make me think that it could end in the rapid is that it's 4 games, right? So I don't know. Well,
Hmm.
yeah, 4 games is a lot of games to produce something decisive. But okay, we are going to see. Actually, well, in Fisher Random that is being played right now, right? We haven't seen any really. Have we seen any draws like 2-2? And I mean, in the
Hmm.
knockout portion, not yet, right? They're always decided because in the 4 games so far. Okay, it's a small sample, but we'll see. Okay, we made each our own predictions. I definitely agree with you, Ketty, that I would love to see Blitz because the more chess we see, the more fun it is. But we'll see if we get there. So let's also talk about the players, right? Let's bring up the player card for
Hmm.
Humpy Koneru. She is 35 years old, currently ranked world number 3, with a rating of 2574. I can also give you a little bit of extra background on Humpy. Humpy became the youngest woman to become a grandmaster since actually beating Judith Polgar's record back in 2002. So Humpy has been a grandmaster for a really, really, really long time for such a young player that she still is. So, it was like 15 years and 1 month. And I think, well, that must have been beaten since then by Ho Yifan. But at the time, she was the first woman to beat Judith's record. What else we can say about Humpy? I mean, my first game against her was in 1998 when she was like 10 years old at the World
Oh wow.
Juniors in India. And already then she was a strong player. I could see that. So I wasn't surprised at her like very rapid ascent. So yeah, so she became a grandmaster when she was a teenager. She played a match for the Women's World Championship with Ho Yifan that she lost. That was around 2012. And basically since then she has been one of the top women in chess. I mean, she's been one of the top women for like 20 years now.
It is true, and there was like 2 years period when she kind of disappeared from chess world, like playing less and less tournaments, and the reason of that, they're like, I think. one of the reasons was that she got a baby, and she adores her baby daughter. And I have seen her after winning the Grand Prix, one of the Grand Prix legs. She was the first thing what she was doing. She was calling to her daughter and to her family to talk with them and share the happiness that she had. And we know that she is the leader of the Indian team, and she was a representative of FIDE Olympiad in Chennai, which happened this year. So that is a big responsibility indeed. And the itself, the idea that she was chosen to be the representative of Olympiad says a lot. And on the other hand,
Oh,
we have Anna Muzychuk, who has also quite impressive biography. But here we have actually the first moves of the
yeah.
today's first match, Arena, and let's dive into the chess.
Right. Okay. So the game has started, guys. Anna Muzychuk has the white pieces like she had in game 4 yesterday. And again,
Mhm.
we see a Petrov. So they are sticking to the openings that have been encountered in their match already. Um, okay, here's something new. Humpy has been playing Queen D7 in this position in 2 games so far. Basically,
Right.
well, a rather weird looking queen move, but that was stopping the trade because the queen would be way better placed on d7 than on d8, so you wouldn't lose the right to castle. But today she goes for something different. She goes for this trade,
Mhm.
definitely a more natural looking move. C5, c3, and bishop g4. Okay, so that is our position on the board. Humpy is putting Anna into a think here. She seems to be, well, she's the one who diverged, so we are not so surprised that she is going to be playing a little bit more quickly.
Yeah, that's right. I was also curious if she would play Queen D7 another time too. That was actually what I was pointing out. Both of the players have coaches here in Monaco. And yeah, today, like usually, we're meeting uh, each other in the morning at the breakfast. But today I missed Humpy. I didn't see her at the breakfast, to be honest. So now I know the reason she was preferring for the match for sure, pretty heavily this morning. And I don't know if she has missed the breakfast, but we can see now the outcome of that.
So, Kenny, maybe you can tell us, like you said, the players are there with seconds. Who are these
Hmm.
seconds? Who are their coaches there?
Uh, can I say that?
Are you allowed to? I don't know.
I
If you can see that, let me put it this way. Like, I mean, if you can see them, and if it's like that, I guess it must be kind of public information. I mean, it must be that they can see each other, right? In that case, it's not
yeah,
really, it's not
yeah.
that much of a
Firstly, I
secret.
think I think I saw accidentally the second of Canary Humpy. So I was like, oh my
Okay.
god,
Yeah. Well, don't worry.
undo this.
I think it's fine if you don't want to reveal it. I mean, whatever you feel is right. Like I know that these things are kind of, well,
Yeah.
sensitive, and they do make a difference in preparation. So if it's not public knowledge, like for example, at the Fisher Random, we know like Vitsugov is around there and supporting Nepo, so it's not exactly a
Hmm.
secret, and people like to know these things. But
Yeah.
if it's not really meant to be public, at this point, it's totally fine not to get into that. Of course, it's always an interesting question. Um, who is helping these players. It actually can make a big difference in the openings. Okay, let's see what we got on the board here,
Yeah.
Ketty. So this is a very
They're playing
similar.
so fast, right?
Yeah,
Compared to the other classical games that you're commentating earlier this week. This game is progressing really fast.
yeah. I mean, the one thing that is similar is the pawn structure because that was chosen
Mhm.
very early on. So what I mean is that Black has this pawn majority on in the center. White's got the pawn majority in the space on the king side. That is familiar. Like the missing part
Mhm.
here is I was going to say it was that there's no knight on e6 for Black, and it's kind of amazing. It's just that I was going to say that the Black knight from c6 makes its intentions known to go to e6. And yes, that is like a really good square for the knight, like blockading the e pawn, attacking the
Yeah,
bishop.
and yeah, she's going this without even castling, so she wants to make sure that the center is first stabilized, and then she would castle, because usually you like to finalize your development and make sure the king is safe. But here, Humpy chooses first to get this knight on e6 square.
Yeah, I guess if you castle, you have to kind of calculate bishop takes h7, which I don't think that it works at the moment,
Hmm.
but it is the kind of thing you got to take a quick look at. It doesn't work because at this point, black can simply block and stay up a piece. But yeah, I mean, I don't know why castling was, let's say, impossible, but sometimes, like, when you're one move away from castling and you can always do it, you actually don't have to do it. You can try to do something more useful first, because you know that you always will have the chance to castle when you're that close
Hmm.
to being able to.
Yeah, right. And at this point, seems like Connor is still in her home preparation, as her time has not dropped from 15 minutes starting time. And Anna seems to be a bit surprised, and she's just using a little bit more time. Irina, we had a question in the chat how they
Mm-hmm.
decided the colors of the pieces, and they actually, after yesterday's game, they had the drones of color,
Mm-hmm.
and it happened that Anna chose white color. And in case if we have a draw in the rapid match, they're gonna do the same procedure again for the blitz to define the color. So we
Oh,
might
wow.
we might see that on camera.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, Humpy definitely, it's interesting. Why didn't she bring this preparation to
Mm.
her fourth game yesterday? It actually is funny because, okay, that wound up being quite costly for her. I mean, I don't want to say that she lost the game because of the opening yesterday. I think she actually was doing fine, but
Yeah.
because she wound up losing
Yeah.
that game, she basically felt a need to switch up, and maybe that switch would have been better to do yesterday to avoid a tie break altogether.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's a bit. Oh, G4! Look at this. Look at Anna. She
Mm.
doesn't trust the opponent. She goes G4. That is the move I love to see.
Yeah, I'm sure Humpy loves to see it too because she's whoa, oh, okay,
Oh,
okay,
no
okay.
thinking at all.
Yeah, at first I was like, Bishop G6 is automatic, but no, she decides to go for that bishop, which I think is totally fine. Yeah, I doubt that white will want to take the bishop and let the knight in. Okay, so Bishop G6. Honestly, it looks really pretty nice for Humpy. I would not mind being black in this position at all. I feel like the
Mhm.
move G4. All right, this is the kind of move you can have regrets about later in the game. Black hasn't even chosen a side to castle. Like, we don't even know. Black
Mhm.
might be going queen side, and meanwhile, White's got that pawn there. The knight on e6 is excellent. Yeah, I 100% prefer this position for black.
Yeah, and black can also strike on the king side with h5 next move, as g4 has been already pushed too far. I'm really curious what is Anna's ideas here after bishop g6. I think next move should be played pretty fast, and she goes bishop to f5. If black captures this bishop, then Anna will have the central pawns on e5 and f5. That can be dangerous for Konoru, but it's not mandatory to take this bishop, obviously.
Yeah, well, if she takes it, okay, then white gets some pretty dangerous looking pawns, and then the pawn wants to go to e6, right? So
Mhm.
perhaps not. Okay, this is the moment where I think Humpy should take her first real think in the game. So what would I think about here, Ketty? I would think about Castle's queen side. I would think about Castle's king side because they're both possible. Well, h5, the move that you mentioned, is also interesting. Although it allows bishop takes g6, fg, and we have to evaluate that position, which probably is okay for black, but that pawn is a bit weak, so I don't know. Like, I
Mm.
definitely h5. is an interesting idea. But like if I take and like attack your pawn, how are you
Mm.
guarding that pawn?
I was thinking maybe just castle alongside, ignore that pawn, and then open up the H file. That can be
Yeah.
something, but probably it should be
Mm.
preparation. You can't really come up with this on the board
No,
when you play
yeah,
rapid game.
maybe she can. Maybe you're. I
I mean,
mean,
it's too
you came.
risky. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know. You came up with it pretty fast, Aketi. So maybe
It's
they
not
can
my
do it. Yeah, it's not your
pawn.
pawn, right? So it's a little easier. I agree.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's Rook H6 here. Actually, as a
Hmm.
move that looks pretty good and kicking out that queen.
Oh,
I
I
don't
love
know.
that.
I feel like she might do that because well, it's kind of she knows. I think Humpy has a pretty good evaluation of the position, and I think she knows that this move
Hmm.
G4 is just a bit much
Hmm.
from
Yeah, I
Anna,
agree
and
that.
so like H5 is an attempt to punish her. I mean, we can see what is the computer's favorite move. In fact, it does like H5. It's funny because there's also Castle Short, which is another totally normal move, but of course it's so different from H5. So H5 is actually the most ambitious move here, and I would be really quite happy if Humpy can make it.
Yeah, me too. This is what we want to see indeed. Oh, she
Mm,
goes queen to c6. Probably in some lines she can push the pawn d4 and open up the long diagonal. She probably also plans to go h5 at some point to open up the h file for the rook. So that's an
yeah.
interesting move indeed.
Yeah, it's not a bad move at all. I mean, I think the queen is very naturally placed on that square. I guess she just wanted to get out of the pin.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see if H5 is going to happen. And yeah, by the way, guys, we are following your chat at twitch.tv/chesscom live. So if you want to join us there, give your comments and questions, feel free. And yeah, I mean, this is going to be super exciting, right? Like it's already such an
Hmm.
unbalanced position, and White's made some commitments on the king side. There's no going back from a move like that, guys. Like once you play G4, you're pretty much all in.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
and I
yeah,
think this game can be decisive results. Uh, f- Anything can happen, and maybe I'm starting to think that the match can end in rapid section because
yeah,
they are going all in.
yeah, yeah. No, Anna has a very aggressive style, but of course, sometimes that can
Hmm.
backfire, and Humpy is like a lot more solid. Like you're not going to see Humpy get this position as White. It's just not. It's just not going to happen. But with Black, yes, she likes that solidity. Well, we're gonna see. So after Queen C6, like what is White gonna do to generate something exciting here? Because you can play G4, but it doesn't actually mean you're attacking anybody. It could just
Yeah.
mean that your king is weak, but how do you follow up? Well, like how do you use the pawn majority? Yesterday we talked
Hmm.
about this structure a lot, and you know, well, in the game yesterday, this pawn got to H6. I don't think it's gonna get anywhere there today. That this pawn can't really be used. There's big questions about the knight, like how to use the knight. But I think she just made a move. She played A5.
She played
Um,
a5. I do like this move because, like, if Anna feels dangerous situation can approach on the king side, she can play queen a4 and trade the queens. And I think the end game with this pawn structure on the queen side, she can be happy. A5 uh, stops b and a pawn, and then white can just build up the battery on d file and attack the pawn on d5. So I do like that a5 move.
yeah, I guess if you get really desperate about your king, you do have this queen
Hmm.
a4 trading the queen's idea. Although I don't think that's what Anna Muzychuk's main idea is with that move.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think she didn't really know exactly what to do. This move is not a bad pawn move on the queen side, and she's basically giving the choice to Humpy. Now, is Humpy going to be going H5? Like, we're going to be seeing this move because pawn takes again. We can see something very similar. I think you just let that pawn go. So
Hmm.
H5 is on the board. Okay, that's great news for us
Oh,
guys.
oh, nice, 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 nice. That so actually Connery was planning to do that, and she found Queen C6 useful move to play beforehand. And she doesn't care actually this queen trade Queen A4 move for some reason. But yeah, honestly, this H5 seems to be scary to me, and if I'm white, I would go for Queen trade right away.
Yeah, wow. The thing is that this move is really not an Anna style.
Yeah.
And it's also a pretty depressing way to play. So I don't know. It's going to be a stretch for her. It's going to be a real psychological concession if she winds up going there because I don't think that's dangerous to black at all.
Hmm.
But at the same time, like, is this actually bad for white? Mm, can't really say that this move is bad for whites. Yeah, I mean it's really quite playable. Um, but is she gonna because she gonna feel that way about her position? I mean, yeah, objectively, the engine bar seems to like this queen trade. Are there other options for whites? Well, there's queen
Yeah.
c2 or king g4, but
King
on queen
G2.
c2, yeah, attacking this pawn, it seems like we can just castle.
Hmm. Ah, can we do? No, we can't do.
I guess the
Um,
idea is always rook h6, right? This must be the point here.
mhm.
Rook h6, and the queen is forced to go away. If you go there, how do I trap you? What's the secret here?
Maybe you can just take the pawn on G4 and sacrifice this bishop on E7 and not be scared of that. And
Yeah, maybe just queen d. Can I go queen d7 and just prepare rook f8?
that
It,
seems possible.
yeah, I mean it looks pretty bad. Okay, you can try to run away, but um, yeah, I think she needs to go queen a4 ultimately. Right. So we're going to see, guys, if she goes there. I know she doesn't want to go there. And, when you're playing with white and you're on the
Hmm.
defensive, and then you got to like trade the
Yeah.
queens right away, it's not the best feeling, but it's not objectively like such a bad move. And then it's like in Black's court, how he wants this to allow this to happen. Like, do you let them take? That seems
Hmm.
plausible. Like, do you just castle here and let them take? I think that is definitely a possible way to do it because these doubled pawns are not bad looking to me. Are there other ways you can trade? Well, sure. I mean, you can trade like that and then go castles long, and that also seems
Right.
totally possible to me. Um,
Yeah.
so look what
Still
she
game
does.
on.
Yeah, so she goes queen d3. You see, uh,
Okay.
it's like the tiger doesn't change its stripes, guys, right? It's like it doesn't matter. Like Humpy would play queen a4, but these are players with
Yeah.
different styles, and they just stay true to their style. So she keeps the game in the middle game,
She needs
despite,
queen for this game. Yeah.
but despite the fact that objectively it is a worse move, right? It's kind of like similar to queen c2. So it takes.
Hmm.
Okay, so on bishop takes, I guess she was planning to take the knight, destroy the structure. And after pawn takes, wow, c4. Whoa, c4 by Humpy, huh? I mean, so she's not
Oh,
going for that castle's queenside, sort of an obvious move that we were looking at. And she
no,
goes,
because after C4, you give up the D4 square, so knight can
yeah,
simply jump on D4 square, and
yeah,
knight is pinned, you attack the queen. So she's planning something else. Maybe D4 next move?
yeah. Honestly, guys, I'm really not a fan of this move. Like, I don't like to give up squares that I don't need to give up. This knight was
Hmm.
actually a really poor piece, and I just don't get it. Like, why you can't do such a wholesome move like castles? Because, like, if this is your biggest problem, I mean, it's obvious you got good compensation for the pawn, and you're going to have it actually multiple ways, right? Like, you don't really have to worry that much. I feel like even like I'll give you another line like d4 here. Like, well, okay, maybe there's queen
Yeah.
e4, but even like there's so many moves to actually look at, right? Yeah, maybe not. Maybe this is not one of them,
Um,
but it's still an idea, and it just shows you like the extent of the ideas here. Like you can go, rook f8, you can go rook h6, just
yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
one
I
pawn.
like
Right.
this position. But Irina, in the current position, is she
Yeah.
planning to play d4 here right away? Because now after d4, you have this sneaky move knight g5 next,
Yeah.
and the h1 square is not guarded, so it can be a checkmate
Mm,
if knight leaves.
nice. So you're
Uh,
basically saying she's preparing this pawn sack, and that's why she did that. Because if she would have done that right away, they could sort of Anna could sort of block things up.
mhm.
So you're thinking she did that in order to immediately play d4, which I think is a really good theory. Etsy, that makes a ton of sense because the rook and the queen combine on h1 to make it impossible for the knight to take the pawn. And
Yeah, additionally, there is this knight g5 idea, and if white
mhm,
traces the bishop on g6, then you're gonna have open f file too. So,
yeah, or
ooh,
even
knight
like that,
g4,
you
yeah.
know. It's interesting that the computer bar doesn't love this move, but honestly, it looks so tempting from a human point of view. I wonder what's there not to
Hmm.
love about it. I guess something to do with that square. Like there must be something. Even I could even go there like right now, and that must be the problem, right? That I
That's
actually
right.
defend that diagonal. Yeah, I think that's it. And
Hmm.
the problem here is that you get like a bunch of pawns hanging, so you can't even play d3 properly.
Hmm.
And then we're in the end game, and White's not doing so bad all of a sudden. So that's why she decided to go for bishop c5. Okay. I mean, I can understand what she's doing. I do like bishop c5. I like the coverage of d4 square. Of course, the diagonal is extremely nice. So okay, so
Hmm.
far it's still going to be exciting. Maybe Humpy didn't play exactly like what we were thinking, but I still think what she's doing looks good.
Yeah, and look at the time situation now. At this point, both of them have equal time. Even though at the beginning, and I was thinking a little bit more now, they have even time on the clock and a very complicated position. Now
Yeah.
we can see both of the players on the screen. So much nerves.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
Killer, and I didn't miss your question. It's just that it's a little hard to get to it in a rapid game where there's like so much action on the board, and so that question I didn't want to get off track. But
mhm.
I will definitely address it when we have a lull in the action, because I know that photo made its way around the world, and yeah, it was kind of a coincidence that I was in it. So, okay, we'll talk about that a little later, guys. But right now, we're looking for a move for white, and still feels harder to play as white, doesn't it, Ketty?
It's not really easy, to be honest here. Black has
Yeah,
everything, like open H file, all the pieces very nicely placed and active. Maybe a rook d1 is something that white can play to fight for d4 square. So you just block the pawn on d5. If
yeah,
pawn goes forward on d4 at the right time, that's going to be really dangerous for white. So yeah, that's probably is the thing white can do here. Rook d1, knight
yeah. I
d4.
kind of like Rook D1. I feel like this square is very important because I mean these ideas are always present in the position, and just because have Queen E4 doesn't mean you want to allow this move to happen. Um, so Rook AD1. And like imagine black just castles queenside as is natural. And then let's say we go knight d4. Well, I guess I consider this a pretty reasonable line uh, that the game can continue in. I mean, I think this square is like something you really want to put your knight on. You want to block this
Mhm.
diagonal and you want to block off the bishop. And then I think white has a reasonable position, Ketty.
Yeah, I still, to be honest, I still like Black's decision um, because of these motives that we still have on the board and also potential attack on the H file. Like, I don't know, can Black also play something like King E7 to double the rooks? Look at this. White goes with King to G2, and she wants to play perhaps Rook H1 to just decrease the tension on H file at least. And she is at the moment not afraid d4 pawn push.
Yeah, so always this move is met by queen e4. Okay, I think her move is reasonable. Rook
Hmm.
h1 is certainly another reasonable plan. I guess Humpy will need to be castling. I just don't really see anything better than that. I mean, her rooks are not connected, and this is about to happen. I don't see any tactics that she could do. I don't. I mean, this is not helpful. This is not working. So, I mean, to me, castle's queenside is just the move you play, and then after rook h1, you can then, by the way, consider d4 because there's no more queen e4. Well, right. I mean, so actually, you do have that idea now. I don't know why the computer is not loving it. Probably because of this, because I'm hanging this pawn. Yeah, that's
Right.
probably a detail.
Mm.
Although I don't know if I'm, yeah, I don't know if I'm hanging it. Like, oh yeah, I guess I can't move this knight. So I still think it looks totally unclear. Like, who knows what's going on here? Um, it's obviously lots of issues on the
Uh,
diagonal.
yeah, but like now if white guards the knight on f3 and there's a way to guard it, then we're gonna have less and less pieces on the board, and
Yeah. But how to guard it? I mean, Teddy,
that's
because we
yeah.
need two D3. I mean, it just feels like obvious. I got to tell you, I don't want this move to happen, which is why I really want this knight to be on D4. But here we go. Humpy castled queenside. So we're going to see. Okay, Anna's idea. Well, we might just be going into this line. It's such a natural line. What else can black do other than that? So there are simple moves like king d8, but d4
Mhm.
is a big idea. It's definitely a big idea in the position. So I feel from a human point of view, Ketty, that this move is what's going to get Humpy's attention. Let's just go through it again. So let's say you take my pawn and I go in for this trade. And how easy is it for you to really neutralize my initiative? I mean, you barely can protect this knight, right? So you got these two ways to
Yeah.
protect the knight.
You have to choose between queen d3 or queen e2. I think queen d3 stops the pawn to be pushed, and in
Yeah,
case if d takes c3, then you take with the queen, and you also have a counterplay on the c file, and you guard the knight. So I think
yeah,
that's very good option here for white.
yeah. This one, white is like looks like white's holding everything together and like no real problem. Although I would still say like even 94 still who knows what's going on, or even hold on, like even king b8, maybe just like move the king over. Oh no, wait, I just walked into it. Did I try to make the king safer? Yeah, not like that, right? um so maybe knight e4 is an interesting move here, and
Hmm.
I think a big mess, right? But I don't know if Humpy's going to want to
Right,
go for
right.
that because it is hard to evaluate, and I think
Sh-
she does something different.
She traded the rooks on h1.
Yeah.
Um, and now, does this make any difference to push d4? But to be honest, now I like king b8 more and more in this position, just to get out of this pin and free the knight. But then, even in our lines, king on b8 is not quite safe. There
Right.
is this bishop on
Well,
g3
perhaps,
who's aiming
Keddy,
the
it should
king.
go all the way to A8. That's the thing. Maybe it should just
a8, yeah.
continue on to A8 and become really safe. Actually, Humpy
Hmm.
maybe will just do that. I think it's a pretty good plan. It's very solid. I mean, and the thing is like now she's going lower on time because she knows these are key moments. She knows this is like something she wants to do, but she's got to calculate it. And okay, there you
Do
go.
we
She
have
actually
it?
goes for it. Cool.
Ooh,
Yeah. Yeah. All right. It's
okay.
it's getting exciting. So she decides this is the
Very good.
moment. And now we're gonna see Queen C4, right? Knight. And now if black wants to be able to move this knight. I mean, are there other ideas here? I do think there are other ideas, Ketty. Like I don't even know. What about this move? Just like a totally
Yeah,
different
that's what I
idea.
wanted to suggest.
Yeah.
But is there some kind of trade
Yeah, maybe
maybe?
like B4, maybe it's just not really worth it,
Mm.
right? Because we can get these queens off the board and we're in some ends game and black is, down a pawn. So it's an idea, but probably not the way to go. So let's see if the computer has any ideas here. Yeah, he basically just does what we were suggesting. So exactly this line. And after queen d3, actually it goes all the way into it. It's good that we were on the right track. And says that this position is equal. Equal, but
Okay.
obviously very sharp. And by the way, the knight can try to go to d2. So let's say the
Hmm.
queen goes here. The idea is not even to take the bishop. The idea is there's the best that black has here is apparently just this repetition like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's the way how the game can end.
yeah.
Is there a move queen after queen c2, rook to d2, or that's too extreme to play?
Rook d2. Wow, that is
Hmm.
actually really interesting. But maybe can I take it? Do you take it? Does feel like you're gonna mate me, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Um, so if you take with a
Yeah.
knight, oh, it feels super dangerous. But I guess white is surviving and can actually go to h3 and then g2 after queen h6. And wait, there's like knight g5.
Knight g5 and king
Are we actually doing that? Are we
g4.
really doing that? Oh yeah, because
Ah,
yeah, we are because when you take the rook, I take the bishop with check, so then it's
bishop.
clear. Yeah,
Yeah, but there's a queen f3 crazy check. King takes g5, and unfortunately, bishop is pinned, and you cannot give a check on e7, which
yeah,
can
that
be a
would that would have
checkmate.
been
That's not
checkmate.
gonna
Oh,
happen.
close to that, right? So,
Hmm.
well, guys, we are on track to perhaps see that line because white has captured on c4. And so we are expecting Humpy to go for the trade of the bishops to get rid of the pin and then just move her knight in and give the choice back to white how to defend that knight. So looks like right now everything's under control for white. Like black is not winning or anything, and black is maybe the one who has to play, make the bigger decisions here.
Yeah, that is right. We have questions here if there is another game today too, but today we're gonna have just this match because yesterday in the classical chess, Anna Muzychuk won the game, which made the match ties as Connery won the first game and two other games were draw. So, Lei Tingli is the player who has a day off today and enjoys that moment until the next match, and definitely we're just going to have this 4 games now, and let's see if also we have tie in this case. We're going to have more and more blitz games.
Yeah, and I mean, you see, guys, how exciting this form of chess is, right? That we're in some critical positions. It's so fast paced, and actually, something just changed with the clock. Or no, I don't know. It changed and changed back. But Humpy, after a thought, she's only down to like a little over two
Hmm.
minutes. She did go for this line that we were talking about. Um, Oh,
Queen
how
d3 is
come
on the
GM Crush
board.
picked exactly 0 moves that seemed good for the engine? Every single suggestion appeared to be bad. I don't even. Not, I honestly would like to understand what you said because I think I've been doing pretty well today with minimal engine use, and I think we're pretty much predicting the exact things that are happening on the board on registered user. I sometimes I agree with your feedback, guys, but this one I have to admit I just didn't quite get. Like even what we just showed you, it's all on the board. So what are your
Yeah, like we
complaints?
haven't shown any more line, to be honest, just this line, which was actually the choice of the engine and also choice of the players too. And you don't necessarily need to guess the engine moves. Like guys, come on. We have
Yeah,
Grandmaster
yeah.
here.
All right. Anyway, um, so 94, and now we are expecting. Well, the truth is, like, she can do any move. Queen c2 was
Mhm.
natural, but it does allow rook d2. So she might. I mean, queen b3 allows knight d2, and then you move back. And then, yeah, the bishop can't move because you trade the queens.
I'm thinking of Queen c4 here to keep the pin on the board and like to call this knight d2. And after knight d2, then you have Queen g4. Like to get this queen on g4 line
Are you
threatens an
looking at? Are you
f6
looking at this
check.
one? Queen
Yeah,
c4. Yeah,
yeah.
queen c4. Oh, interesting. Yeah, this is a good point, Ketty, because here white can go for queen g4, and white is actually
Hmm.
defending this knight nicely and threatening f6 and doing quite well. So in this scenario, so where white moves the queen here apparently does matter a lot, guys, because here the best move is knight takes g3, and after f takes g3. Now, why can't we take with the king, Ketty? What? Oh, no, 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 no. I know this idea. I'm very familiar with this discovery to win the queen.
Oh no! How about rook c1 here instead of going after knight? You just take the bishop and
Trying to go take the bishop, yeah.
yeah.
Uh, but then the problem is they go back and they protect their bishop.
Oh, and after b4, there's
Yeah.
probably
Well, yeah,
something
you don't
like
want to make
knight
that much
d2.
effort, yeah, because it takes too
Yeah.
long. But so if you take it back like that and then rook
Hmm.
d2,
Oh,
that
still
looks
so scary position, really.
it really does look kind of scary. And I mean, it's amazing that this is not, I don't know, it's not winning for black because we
Hmm.
probably get some sort of perpetual. Yeah, the black king can't really escape. Okay, but she chose queen c2.
Queen c2, yeah.
So now if knight takes, we take with the pawn, there's no rook d2. So she takes the bishop. White is just up a pawn and holding things together. So at that point, that's why knight d2 is better.
Hmm.
And we might be seeing a repetition here, guys.
Yeah, maybe it's time for Connor to make choice here, to evaluate well this position, and if she can't find anything direct, just to go for knight d2, because with the first game with black pieces, that's okay to make a draw.
Yeah, we're gonna see, guys. Um, okay, she's got a minute left, right? So
Yeah,
this is the more
and
tempting way to attack the knight because if you go from g5, there's queen e2.
well, she goes for knight d2. Anna
Queen
plays very
c3.
quickly queen
Yeah,
c3, knight d4. There we go.
yeah.
Oof.
We might be getting that repetition right here, guys.
Yeah. And honestly, queen c3 seems to be the only move there to play for Anna. And yeah, gonna just to repeat it.
Let's see them on the video feed. And they haven't yet agreed to a draw, right? But yeah, I think they
Yeah.
just did, right? Okay. Well, I
Well,
think that was
well.
a really good start to the match,
Hmm.
guys. I think Anna Muzychuk can be relatively relieved that she got through this position without too many problems, despite her king not feeling very comfortable. I think Humpy
Hmm.
can also be relatively satisfied. I mean, she had the initiative with the black pieces, absolutely no opening problems. She handled her clock quite well. At the end, it did get low on time because she was the one who was looking for that
Hmm.
advantage, right? So she had more to
That's
calculate.
right.
I really don't have huge huge like feedback on where they and where black could have played better, like that would have been realistic. Um
I think,
yeah.
Irina, there was one moment
Hmm.
when Connery played Queen C6. Maybe that
Yeah,
was the moment where she could play H5 right away to win
right.
one tempo.
Yeah, I mean, like that's just
Maybe.
a different, like a different, yeah, different path. She could have been a little bit more direct with this H5 move.
Hmm.
Um, I think, but once we got into this position and it felt like, like she still had the initiative. I mean, you can't really fault her for playing D4. Like D4 is such a natural move. Were there other approaches like King B8 and maybe hold the tension? I think so. I think if we wanted the game to continue, that would have been the move. But like, does that mean she would have won the game? No, I do think it's kind of easier for black to play. So probably in hindsight, she would have liked this game to continue. But she went for something really, really tempting. She thought that, this diagonal would bring her something, but Anna just held everything together with this move. And it turns out that this really wasn't that much for black, and she couldn't do anything against this knight. And then her best option was to just take this repetition. So overall, yeah, I think that this game ended in a draw. Both players can find something to be satisfied about. Also, it was exciting for us. And let's just show the score in the match. We got that first game ending in a draw. We got 3 more games today, Ketty. And if they're going to be as exciting
Yes.
as this one, guys, you don't want to miss it.
You don't want to miss it. It's gonna be 10 minutes a break for the players before until the next rounds, and I think we are going to take break as well.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in just a few minutes.
Just one. Simply click this button at the bottom of our streaming panel to watch multiple events at once. Click again to switch back to a single screen. Don't miss a moment of top-level chess with squad streaming on twitch.tv/chess.
Hey guys, welcome back to our coverage of the FIDE Women's World Candidates, not World Championship yet, but I got that one wrong. The FIDE Candidates Women's coverage. All right, take two. So we've got the second game about to start between Humpy Koneru and Anna Muzychuk. And we had an exciting first game, Ketty, that ended in a draw. That doesn't really get us any closer to knowing who the winner of this match is going to be. But this time, Humpy Koneru is going to take the white pieces against Anna. The players already sitting at their boards. They're playing in Monaco. They're playing for substantial prizes, which maybe we can show as they try to move on to the semifinals.
Yeah, and this tournament actually is divided into two pools, and this is the pool A here, and the winner will take 60,000 euros. Runner-up will take 50,000 euro, and the person who can qualify from the starting, that person will take anyway 20,000 euro, which is really nice prize fund, and the total prize fund is 250,000 euro.
Yeah, so they're basically playing for 10,000 euros today. Difference between 20 and 30. That was actually also the difference that I played for at the U.S. Women's Championship tie breaks. It's always just a funny thing how a couple of hours of chess makes a difference of $10,000. So it does feel quite high stakes. And obviously, it's not only 10,000 for them, because it's also their chance to continue in the tournament and get a world championship match, which could be hundreds of thousands of dollars. So they're
and the title, the most important, the title. Arina, before the game starts, I can tell a little bit about the situation in the playing venue, because it's very interesting. Like, it's really like small area, and there are like not too much people, but still about like 7 to 10 people who are working, arbiters and technicians, and so on and so on. For now, we can see there's only one table used, another table. We're not gonna use that anymore at this tournament, and it is so silent in the playing venue. If you breathe loud, it's hearable. So usually guests and the arbiters are trying to be silent, so players will not be distracted. Also, players have the possibility to go outside, probably not today at the rapid or blitz games, but in classical games they can enjoy their snacks and also go outside in the garden, and it is really, really nice place to play. And here we have a handshake, and I believe first move is a d4.
Yeah, we're gonna see. Okay, not a queen's gambit accepted, like Anna tried against Humpy in the first game. So she's doing the line that she did against her in the second game. Is she gonna go for c5? Oh no. I really hope Humpy is coming with some good prep here. This is a repetition of a game that went quickly into an end game in game 3 of their match. Is she going to go bishop g5 after e takes d? Oh, she actually doesn't take the pawn. She starts with this check. That is her. There's this line. There is bishop d7, queen d4, and I guess, well, she can either take the pawn, which is obviously quite dangerous. She loses like a lot of time, or maybe she just goes for bishop g5, which is similar. So she got the bishop to come there instead of being on c8. Maybe that's her idea, and I think that actually is her idea, because we see it on the board. And after bishop g5, we could have had that position with the bishop on c8. She made it go here. Wow, maybe that's something
queen
new.
e3 check. Ooh.
Yeah, that's something new to me.
So, well, if bishop e7, natural move, then maybe bishop f6. Pawn has to take f6, and knight d5 is the idea.
Yep.
So instead of bishop e7, black has to play something like queen e7, bishop e6.
I mean,
I don't believe in knight e7, to be honest. There. Yeah, it's a very
bishop.
Bad
So
move,
bishop
probably.
e6. Okay, so that's probably what we're going to see on the board. And now, well, you got to watch out for d4. So is the idea to castle queenside? That looks really risky. Is the idea to
Hmm.
play knight d4? That looks interesting, but there's bishop c5, knight takes c6. Let's put that on the board so we can actually figure that out. So bishop c5. Oh, there's also knight takes e6. So you can actually try taking either of these pieces. Like, for example, here's a sample line, guys. Knight takes d8, bishop takes e3. What am I going to take here, Katy? Do I take the pawn and let you play rook b8? Well, first of all, this just looks kind of equalish, although you can try to make the case that this bishop is not so good, and maybe I do take this
Yeah.
pawn. I don't know. It's a question. Like, do I just take your knight?
Yeah. I think take the pawn, and then you also have this check on d6, and you can jump with the knight on f5 in the end. Another possibility is this one to play against hanging pawn here. This seems to me very nice because I am not big fan of bishop on g5. Actually, knight d4 has happened in the game, and now Anna's taking her time to play bishop c5. Also looks quite natural move to play. But how about just to capture this knight, queen takes, and then bishop e7
Yeah, I
to
think that's
try to
basically what
castle?
Humpy wants, right? That after knight takes,
Hmm.
queen takes, bishop e7. Um, yeah, of course, black can do that, but I think Humpy, that's the position she's going for. She's going to be playing against the isolated pawn. She's got the blockade. There's no knight that can push her queen out, and well, that's the whole point of her strategy. So I think if black wants to challenge it, then they got to play a move like that. Now, of course, it's likely to be Humpy's analysis because I don't think anybody plays into this line as white with this kind of weird looking queen e3
Queen e3, yeah. This
unless
is
they,
really
yeah, unless they got some specific analysis, right? And then bishop c5 is such an obvious move that I think Humpy must have taken a look at that in her prep.
And I wanted to check in the database, online database that I have access to, and I couldn't find any move, any game with queen e3. There
Wow.
are tons of games: queen d2, queen d3, queen d1, queen f4, bishop f6, but I can't see queen e3 here at this point.
You know, it's interesting because I had just never seen this, Kitty, and I was like, do I just not study chess enough? Do I not know? Or because I've never seen this move. And but yeah, that's good to know. It's just never been played. It's like it's her novelty for this match.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
I am very
Uh,
curious about this position though. Like where does white go for an advantage? Wow. Okay, so there's one interesting thing that we missed, which is that on knight c6, I was only looking at bishop e3, but there's even better for black. There's this way to protect the bishop and
ooh,
then take the knight.
ooh, that's ugly move for white,
And also
really,
you're
because
attacking b2. So
and f2 too, so white has to choose the next move carefully here because the
yeah.
pawn on f3 hangs with a check.
So I guess the idea is to take here so that you're attacking the bishop. And this seems like a very equalish line, like very, very, very equalish. Like, does she really think she can win in a position like this? I mean,
Um,
the bishop is a bit offside, sure, but bishops of opposite color, she thinks she can win this.
and there are
Um,
not too much of the weaknesses here as for black too. It's like probably pleasant to play with white indeed against these hanging pawns, but then
yeah.
there's not much against black here. Black can play rook b8 and go
Mm.
after b2 pawn,
Yeah, I kind of
and
like this
then
one, and then always you can bring your bishop
bishop
back somewhere.
f6. Yeah.
I would be shocked. I mean, like I really think Anna needs to play bishop c5, and she just did. There we go. It's like
Hmm.
sometimes it works out when you say something, and they literally just like on cue they play that move.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good feeling, really.
Yeah,
But
just
I really look at the. Yeah, go ahead.
just on time. And so Humpy is
Yeah.
going for this. The problem is, I just don't think that there is a lot in this end game. But okay, that is
Mhm.
clearly her preparation. So I guess she's going to show us what she means by all of this.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to point out. At this point, she is playing so fast and she has 16 minutes on the clock. And Anna has spent some time. So Anna has got quite a
Mm,
surprises today.
wow. And also, this
Oh,
move
G3.
surprises me a little bit. I actually, because I mean, you don't really think about fianchettoing your bishop against these pawns, but maybe her bishop is trying to come out to h3.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah, I mean, she wants to go f4 maybe right now, but I think, I mean,
Hmm.
this knight is likely to move, so then f4 is just kind of pointless. So knight d7, maybe she wants to go there, trade the bishop for the knight, ideally, set up something like that. But again, I don't really believe in this. I mean, she has a ton of time, by the way. So this whole opening preparation has given her a 6-minute advantage, which is
Hmm.
normally very substantial. But given that Anna is already in a pretty safe end game, I also don't think that it's terrible for Anna.
Well, it's yeah, I think for at this point for Anna, for all the players would be more distracting that the opponent plays so fast.
Mm.
These moves. Also the final move G3, it tells me and probably to Anna too that Connery is prepared for this line and she still knows what she's doing.
Yep.
And that's a bit distracting factor.
Yeah, I mean, Humpy has decided to go for something where there's not much objectively, but again, it's also about the type of position, right? So she's comfortable in these kinds of technical positions, got a tiny, tiny bit of pressure, and in a rapid game, maybe someone's not going to have the accuracy um, to navigate this uh, with a lot of precision, and she might,
Hmm.
wind up getting play against these pawns, right? So, okay, let's just try to make some moves for black. I do think
Yeah.
this move is very logical. And
Yeah.
what are we? And like already, the computer doesn't like it that much. See, so why doesn't he like it? Well, who knows? Let's try bishop h3. Um, now he's back to saying it's equal. Okay. Bishop h3. And yeah, okay, it's actually happening. She played knight d7,
Knight to
and Humpy
seven.
played bishop g2 quickly, not bishop h3. What's the idea?
Uh, I think idea might be just to go against pawn push. Like c5 now seems to be even more impossible. D4 as well as
Mm,
the pawn. Both pawns are hanging, and with this developing move, bishop g2. Probably she just wants to get some time, castle, get the rooks on
mm.
c1 and d1, and just to play that kind of game.
Yeah, I guess you're right, Ketty. Okay, so rook b8, and now what do we do about that hanging pawn? Do we play knight a4? I mean, that's generally the idea. And on rook b4, you play b3. So I think that must be the point. You could also play b3 immediately, bishop f6, let's say a rook
Hmm.
c1. That's also
Uh,
possible. b3.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want I want to interrupt you here and take you back all the way to the point when at the beginning we there was a question who are the seconds of the players, and when I
Mm.
saw move G3, I was like, "Huh? How about I get the permission to to say who are the seconds?" And I got all the permission now, all the legal permission, and I can say that the second and the coach for Conor Humpy is Srinath. Narayan, a
All right.
grandmaster from India, and also the captain and the coach of the Olympic team. And
Mm.
in the case of Muzychuk, both sisters shared one coach, and it is Yuri Krivoruchko. So
Mm.
now we know this.
Wow, interesting.
Hmm.
Interesting strategy to share one coach, yeah. Um,
Hmm.
well, I don't know. The game between Maria and Lei
Yeah,
didn't work out too well. I don't know. um,
yeah,
uh, if they have any complaints about the coach, maybe it's actually not easy preparing two players. That's
yeah.
why I'm a little surprised, and it felt like Anna's preparation, well, went better in that game. But okay. I mean, it's
Yeah.
yeah.
For me, the question, like the most intriguing question, was like, what happens if both sister qualifies to the next
Mm,
stage and they face each other? Then
yeah,
what really happens with the coach and the preparation? Now
right.
this question is not legit anymore, as Maria is unfortunately out for her, and we have Anna into the field. But that was really the question that I was asking myself when I heard about this.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Ketty, for letting us know.
Mhm.
India has so many grandmasters these days, guys. Like I think they passed like 70 grandmasters, and I honestly cannot put a name to Narayan, although I know his name, I know the name, but I cannot put a face to it. Um,
Mhm.
I think there was something about him in the news recently. I don't know, maybe on Twitter, but I can't remember. Okay. So King
Yes.
E7. Yeah.
It was very fun
Mhm.
for me because we are very close friends, and I didn't know that
Ah,
he was here, and I just accidentally met him on the first day. But now I have all the permission as he's right now watching us, and I send greetings to him and thanks a lot for letting me allowed to announce this, because I know that we are all curious and everybody is curious who are the seconds and the coaches. This can tell us a lot of information.
are they watching the players like in the playing room? Is there anyone else who's actually in there in the playing
No,
hall? No.
no, no. No, he's watching this stream as he just wrote me.
Oh wow. Yeah, I think we need to. I'm so sorry that I have had everything I've said. um, okay. Um, After White Castles,
Mhm.
well, it's interesting. Yeah, I guess in the end game, the king wants to stay in the center, but it looks like she didn't have a good way to do that, right? With the bishop covering the square, this whole diagonal. So she goes castles. I do like the king here. I mean, I find it very hard to see really white's concept, because black has no bad pieces. I don't think this is enough. The pawn is enough of a weakness. F5 is an
Ooh,
interesting move.
F5.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess she's trying to totally stop these ideas, although I don't know that they were
Mhm.
that much of a threat. I think it's an interesting move. Um, you know, Also, it looks aggressive. It's probably more like prophylactic, and it's pretty decent strategically as well because you just want to put your pawns like on these light squares to restrict this bishop. And that way your king could go there without constantly worrying about this or without worrying about this. And it looks very
Um, uh,
safe to me. And I mean, I'm not sure. It's interesting. To try to understand what was the point of the preparation. I'm guessing they probably would have liked to see Anna play this move more. Maybe they thought in a rapid game, she would try to do something simpler, but this move was so natural. It's like, yes, she did have to spend some time on it. So, but at the same time, it was such a natural move, and she is the kind of player who will try to find those good moves. So, like, none of
mhm.
this is really that shocking. And it does
Right.
feel like, Humpy's giving up that claim to an advantage by white pretty easily now.
I think
Mm-hmm.
what this preparation got Connor is the time on the clock, as we can see.
Yeah,
Connor has almost double time on the clock, and when we have less and less minutes on the clock, anything can happen. So at this point, after f5, I think white just wanted to play e3 anyway, and then after this point, maybe knight a4 to try to control c5 square. And how about to double the rooks, rook c2, rook c1, and start to attack this pawn on c6?
yeah, I guess now is the time for this move. Yeah,
Hmm.
knight a4, rook c2, rook c1 seems like a good plan. Once you get there, and like, let's say my king is here, how do you make progress? I mean, do you go knight c5 and trade the knights to try to get the rook to a5?
There is this tactic to
Yeah.
get knight back on c3 and try to capture d5 pawn. So there is something you can take care of. And then I'm thinking to get this knight somewhere like e2, f4 to get at that square, maybe later on d3, just to have more centralized these knights on that squares.
Yeah, I guess another, idea could be like maybe they're not going for such a maximal approach as white, and they actually want to try to win with black because they see that Anna is quite aggressive as white, and that actually is maybe where there's better chances to win. That's possible, although I don't know. I wouldn't really want to have this position with the white pieces. You know, in in a match where you need to win some games, right?
I found it very safe for whites, to be
Yeah,
honest.
it's safe. It's safe. It's definitely safe.
Because
Yeah.
against Anna,
Yeah.
the opponent corner knows her opponent quite well, and I think the strategy of Connery was just to go in the safe position where Anna has not much of the tactics and these options,
Yeah.
to show her skills, and we surely know how strong she's in attack. So
Yeah.
yeah, this might be some kind of strategical choice from Humpy.
Yeah. That's true. Like, I mean, of course, it's very safe for whites, no doubt about it. But the problem is, and I'm not saying this is Anna's dream, but this would be a little bit more understandable to me if this bishop was a light squared bishop. Then I could be
Yeah.
like, yeah, okay, black has like a not a very good bishop, and so bishops are the same color, and you're trying to use that advantage. But when the bishops are opposite color, and this bishop is really like a fine bishop, like that can control these dark squares, I don't know. I don't know, like that you can really count on much here. I mean, sure, it's not giving Anna opportunities for tactical play, but at the same time, it's not like she's going to lose the minute she's in an end game. She's like she's perfectly capable of playing this position as well, right? So now Humpy's already thinking, and okay, let's try to make some moves for her. So knight a4. Well, we know that black can't really advance the pawn. One thing I can do, and let's see if this makes any sense, is I could try to offer you a knight trade. Does that make any sense? So you say no. I'm just curious about this line. If I keep going back and forth. If you go there,
yeah, that's interesting.
Maybe I even go there. I mean, that's one strategy. I'm not saying black has to do that. So the other thing I would think about is just king d6. Okay, so let's say you go there. Well, the only problem for black is like, where's the active play, right? I don't think black really has any active play, but okay, let's say black just stays and allows this to happen. And let's say black is just staying. I just want to understand, what do you want?
Yeah, I was thinking of knight c3 here to threaten knight d5.
Okay, you're threatening this. Okay. Now my knight is free to move. So actually, I can either do that and possibly that, or I can go knight b6, which looks completely fine, right? So
yeah, knight b6 looks very nice.
Yeah, I mean, either of these moves, I think. Oh, wow, the computer really didn't like that one. Why? Why? He really hated it, but
is there some kind of sacrifices? Crazy sacrifices?
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I'm looking at this and I don't see it. So I don't know why this is so terrible. Let's see what the computer says. Bishop f1. Wow. Bishop f1 to a6.
And then if you play rook c7, there's knight b5 check.
Yeah, okay. So I did make a big mistake there for black. I should have moved my knight to b6.
Oh, Irina, we have another g4 in the game.
All right, cool.
That's crazy. That's getting really crazy. Let's go there.
Rook hc8, bishop h3, g6, g4. Okay, cool. I mean, that's interesting. Yeah, I agree. She wants to basically get rid of this pawn, trade a G
Mhm.
pawn for an F pawn, um, and possibly trade the bishop for the knight before going knight a4. Okay. It's not a lot for her. And I even think at some point black can just take this knight.
Yeah,
I think
just
like
get.
yeah, like so if I take the knight, let's take a look at that. If I take the knight and then just go rook c7, and then I'm not in the pin anymore and I want to go knight e5, like what's wrong with that? It looks pretty normal. And I mean, if you take me, then I'm just quite okay in this end game, right? This is not the worst rook end game ever.
Yeah.
So um it's a big choice for Anna right now. My suggestion of bishop c3 is just, one possible handling of this position. I definitely don't think that trade is forced. But what you don't
Mhm.
want to do is blunder into tactics like that.
Yeah, that's why you first take the knight on c3, just to make sure that the pawn on d5 will no longer hanging, and then play rook to c7. Um,
Yeah, I do
this
think
is
that this
very
makes
likely
a
to
lot of sense to
happen.
me. Yeah, because I don't see why you wouldn't want to get out of this pin, right? But you can't really get out of the pin. And I mean, I guess you could go somewhere else with your rook, but I just doubt that. I mean, maybe you can do something like this, right? Where you just move the
Um,
rook and you're saying, all right, I want to go knight e5 next. So if you go knight a4, I go knight e5, I protect my pawn, that looks fine. But
yeah, but this also gives this extra opportunity to trade the bishop for the knight and then to play
mm,
this knight versus bishop endgame. Oh, bishop. Oh, rook goes on b4. That's
interesting.
interesting.
Whoa. Okay. So there's no tactic here because at the end of all of that, the bishop is going to hang and bishop h3 is on the board. Okay. So Humpy doesn't think long. She keeps the pin. And we might still, well, this is now a threat. So we might see bishop takes c3 and rook c7. I don't know
Yeah,
about rook
because
b4. Yeah, it's fine, but we'll see if, I mean, maybe it helps some kinds of d4 ideas, or maybe that rook will swing over to h4 is also
mhm.
pretty interesting. At some point, she can try that.
Yeah, she was actually planning to give up this bishop for the knight, and she just activated the rook on the fourth rank. And after all, where there will be like unpin of this knight and the rook, maybe she also plans to play a5, a4 to get rid of this pawn and just start to push with the pawn on the queen side.
Yeah, so like the only difference between what we were initially talking about and this is that we were thinking of this position with the rook on b8 and bishop on g4. I don't think it's a huge difference. Rook here is not bad. It's not good, not bad. It's sort of okay. It's fine.
Yeah,
Maybe were you saying earlier, Ketty, that there's this kind of plan?
yeah, probably you want to play this with black.
Yeah, the
To
minority
create
attack.
the pawn, yeah, to create a pawn, and then to create a target on b3 or on a2. So why not?
Yeah, I mean, I can actually see White getting in trouble here if she just misplays it. Like, for example, if I get to, let's say, put my knight here, my king here, my pawn over there, I would personally rather play with black, I think. Because, if I make you trade, that pawn becomes weak. Maybe I get a pass
Hmm.
pawn. So I don't think that White is playing for anything here. And I have a feeling like there's not much point in keeping this bishop. So probably I would be trading.
Just to
I
trade it.
Yeah, because I think the knight letting the knight stay on the board is tricky. I mean, okay, the computer shows another idea of like trying to do this.
Hmm.
Pretty strange plan. Um, it's possible, I
Oh,
guess. It's very double-edged kind of
yeah.
idea. But there you go.
Oh,
She
she's
goes,
going for
yeah.
this, yeah. Because in the end game, when you have bishop, if it's passive bishop, it can go really wrong, as knight is the tricky piece in the end game. So, yeah, this is the moment definitely to go. Maybe now rook to c5 to get this rook on a5. and at some point to centralize the king. I don't really see the proper square where the white king goes.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, it's funny. You really have to go rook c5 because otherwise black is just getting rid of that
yeah.
pawn, and that would be quite easy draw for black. So rook c5, this is reminding me of a very famous game I'm sure that both players know. And when I say it's very famous, it's like Floor. Floor is playing against somebody. Is it Floor like Vidmar, or there's a rook end game from the Tarrasch opening with these pawns, right? That
Yeah.
you actually win with this kind of better rook, and you tie them down to these weaknesses, and then I think you make progress on the king side. But this is still a little bit different. This is not going to be like a copy of that textbook end game. Um, yeah, because well, white's missing also a G pawn. It's just,
Yeah, if
yeah.
there's a G pawn and F pawn on the board, maybe white king can get sneaked in the king side and start to make some problems. But now at this point, black's king is more active,
Mm.
and two rooks are still on the
Mm.
board. So you can keep one rook and the
Yeah,
king guarding the weakness, and you can just move around with another rook. So I
probably.
would expect.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kenny.
Yeah, go
Probably
ahead.
what we had in that game was like a better structure than this. Like we might have had
Mhm.
these pawns further advanced, which would have made a nice difference because here you actually can't even move this rook. They just play c5.
Yeah. That's the problem indeed. And then I really don't know. The rooks are not connected anymore for white. And black can start to create a pass pawn after c4. That's the option. Or black just can simply hold the center with d and c pawns on the fifth rank. So white played king g2. I am so curious where this king is heading. Oh, on g3, f4, king g4. But then if you play f4, then you create weakness on e3, and black will very much appreciate that move. Then d4 will be even more stronger. There will be rook e4, rook e7 kind of moves.
She wants
a6
to go
has
rook
happened.
b5. Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, she just wants to trade off that rook. That's actually very understandable. So now on this move, she's going to go there, and then she'll try to play c5.
Yeah.
So very, very sensible move by Anna. I like that because it's just, clear idea, challenge the rook and solve all your problems. Like, because you can, so if you stay in this position, like kind of not doing much, I mean, okay, I think you can play something like this, but maybe white will, I don't know, try to get their
Hmm.
king in somewhere. Probably not. Um, but maybe white can go, b4 and a3 and things like that, right? It gets a little bit tricky. So
Right.
I like
We
a6 a lot.
have Yeah, we have rook a5 on the board, and now black can play rook b6 as we mentioned, and then c5. That's one thing. Another thing can be rook a7 just to play,
Yeah,
and
rook
then rook
a7
b5 to
and then
keep
rook
this
b5.
idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so totally fine. Right, so you see, this was a game. This was um, Anna. Well, as I think it's obvious that it's heading towards that, without any problems. And I don't know. I feel like from Humpy, you got to try to create more of a game. I understand there's like a match strategy. You want to be solid,
Hmm.
but I felt like a little overly solid, and just like she didn't really give big problems to Anna, right? Like when you play, you want to at least pose a few problems to your opponent, give them a chance to go wrong. I don't feel like we really saw that in this game. Like Anna played well. I mean, there were probably like little details for her to work out, but
Hmm.
she never was under significant pressure in this game.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think first, after what we have seen in the first game, this is something that we are not very impressed to see. Too quiet game indeed, and we surely want to see more and more. But what I can feel from both players, mostly from Connor, she tries to be very solid because a lot of the things are on the stake, and yeah, she's probably is a bit disappointed that she missed the chance to qualify right away from the classical, right?
Yeah,
And here we have a hand shake, a second draw today
yeah.
in the tie breaks.
Second draw, but small moral victory for Anna, who just neutralized her opponent's white color rather easily. And you see the time advantage that Humpy had just was not a very relevant factor in this
Mhm.
game because the position was too simplified. And now, I mean, well, it seems like we're getting more interesting games when Anna is white and we get an e4 opening. So
Yeah.
I guess this is the game you
Do
don't
you think
really,
in
yeah.
do you think it will be another Petrov? Because we had seen so far 3 of Petrov in the
Yeah,
match.
I think we will see another Petrov, Ketty. I
Okay.
just don't see that changing. The players are definitely sticking with openings that they've already employed in the match, just making little
Mhm.
changes. And I think Humpy has no reason to change because her Petrov worked out perfectly well. Of course, Anna's coach has had some time to work on that game. I mean, I think it's a very intense thing going on there, right? Where you play a game, then your coaches are probably working on it while you change
Yeah.
colors. Now they're revealing the results of their preparation, of their
They're
analysis.
consulting
Hmm.
right
Yeah,
now. So, yeah, let's see what third game gonna bring us. Let's take a look once again at the score so far. 2 draws in the rapid game. 2 more draws, Irina, and we might see the blitz
yeah,
portion of the tournament. So exciting to actually see that one.
yeah. We're gonna see, guys. It seems like when Anna is white, the games are more exciting. So you really don't want to miss the third one. Anna is going to be white again, and will she finally make some headway against Humpy's Petrov? Stay tuned. We'll see you guys in a few minutes.
What is this? This is duck chess, you guys.
This is a new variant. It's called duck chess.
Chess, but with a duck.
Quack, quack. How to play duck chess. The duck is a brick. Pieces cannot move through the square occupied by the duck.
Click on a square to place the duck. Oh, you put the duck to prevent moves of opponent, not yourself.
Yeah, so basically you do this, and this cannot move. I'm gonna go knight f6, and I'm gonna put the duck in the most inconvenient place for my opponent to move. No bishop, no queen, so no Londons can permanently stop the London.
Capture the opponent's king to win. Oh, wow. Oh, there's no stalemate. Wait, there is stalemate. But the stalemated player wins. Ooh, if only that was real chess.
I think I'm getting the hang of this game now. I think I actually am getting the hang of it. I think this works. Oh, that's a horrible blunder. Oh my god, I just blundered.
I have to move something else first, then dog, and knight will take my king. This is the best way to lose the dog chess.
Those some real bullet skills right there, boys.
This is the first time winning duck chess. That's so exciting.
Oh no! No! Mouse slip! No! I won! Yeah! Duck chess champion! Give me those points, baby!
Welcome back, everyone. This is 2022 FIDE Women's Candidate Tournament, and here we have the tie breaks between Connor Humpy and Anna Muzychuk. We can see all the playing venue as Connor Humpy is the first one who approached the board, and she is trying to concentrate and also waiting the opponents to approach the board. Irina, let's take a look at the bracket and check it out what we have seen so far and what will be in the future, how this tournament gonna look in general.
Yeah, so one match of the FIDE candidates has already finished, and that is the match between Lei Tingji and Maria Muzychuk, and that ended with Lei winning by a one-game margin, one victory and three draws. That match finished yesterday, and Koneru was not able to hold on to her lead against Anna Muzychuk. She lost yesterday in a must-win game for Anna, and that's why we're seeing these exciting tie breaks today, guys. Who is going to continue on in the women's candidates tournament and play another match that will start in a couple of days? Obviously it means a lot to both players to keep going here.
Absolutely, and there is a lot on the stake. Besides the prize fund, those players are fighting for the highest title for all, and the dream of all the chess players to be the world champion. And maybe one of these players will face the current world champion, Wenjun, in the world championship match. We're gonna see that in the future, and this is the moment when Anna also arrives at the board, and as we expect here, she's gonna play e4 first move, and we might see another exciting game.
Yeah, both of these players have yet become world champion in classical chess, despite being quite close. Anna Muzychuk has gotten to the semifinals of the women's knockout tournament. Humpy Koneru has played a world championship match against Hu Yifan that she lost. And both of them have been world champions in other formats, but not in classical chess. So it's really quite a big deal for both of them. Now they're back in the Petrov as predicted. So now I'm sure Anna is Anna going to be the one surprising her?
Let's see. So far, we have seen all the moves happening, and I am so curious who will devote the line.
Right, C5. We've seen all of that, C5, and I mean, I have no doubt that Anna is going to be the first one to vary here, and she came a little bit later to the board, so I think she it's quite likely she was doing some prep.
Yeah,
Oh, that's the novelty.
Oh, there we go, Bishop F5
right
away. So earlier we had castle first and then G4,
right. So this move is very interesting. It stops the queen from going to D7, which is where Humpy has been putting it. I suppose it also supports ideas of E6. I mean, I guess after Bishop G6, which is like a very logical move to me, white, I don't know, is white planning this? Is white planning this? Or is there some other move that black should be doing here? Just Bishop G6 seems like very safe and natural.
It does, but this is the time when Connor is pretty surprised. We can see as she's taking long, deep thinking here. So yeah, that's the surprise that Anna prepared for her. Let's see how long it's gonna take for Connor to make her next move.
And of course, we should not forget that the simple castles is an option. It's not. Doesn't look like a bad idea as well, but we won't be seeing like the queenside castles option that we saw in the first game. So Bishop F5 is interesting. Let's see. I mean, what does the computer like here for black, right? So look at all of those moves, castles, knight C6, Bishop G6. So look at this. I think this is very interesting, Ketty, because here the computer is not just giving G4 as an option, which it is, but he's also giving something that is a bit unexpected like this. Now, that's something I feel like can be easily, well, it's not an uncommon idea, but it's also something that can be easily missed. This type of pawn sack, and it's really
Right.
quite tricky as you're simply trying to get in over here. Maybe queen g4, queen g6, and I think Humpy's got to be careful here. And she just went for knight c6. Okay. And g4, bishop g6, and queen e2. Okay. So here we go, queen e2. Now let's think about options for
She is
black.
probably preparing e6 also at this point, and maybe even long castle can be very interesting.
Yeah.
Why not? The short castle was quite dangerous for Anna in the first game, and
Yeah.
to improve this with a long castle, maybe that's her next choice.
Yeah, definitely easier to play as white. You know, the element of surprise is so valuable in these rapid games because it wins you this time advantage. And obviously, in a complicated position like this, it's more valuable than in the type of position where Humpy surprised Anna in the previous game, right? So I feel
I agree
like,
with that.
yeah,
Yeah.
you don't want to really be surprised. I sometimes feel like the players should just, switch it up. They know a lot of openings. Like I've seen, Humpy, she can do something else. Maybe she should just switch it up and like be willing to play something where she doesn't have a great prep and probably Anna doesn't have either. And they just play a game, like once you've exhausted your surprise against the Petrov in the first game, like that her coach is gonna tell her something in those 10 minutes. It always works like that. Maybe you should just I know she was happy with her game in the first game, but is she happy with this position? Because this looks nothing like it, right?
Yeah, I agree with what you just said. The fact that Anna is surprising here the opponent, it's a complicated position, and if you have no time on the clock, you might make some mistake, and very, very, a very bad mistake that can cost you points. And in the end game that we had earlier, like Anna had low time on the clock, but her position was really, really solid.
Yep, that's the difference. Like this position just has a lot more complexity and is having 3, 4, 5 minute time advantage is pretty big here. So okay, so she goes queen b6, attacking this pawn, and I don't know, it feels like castle's queenside is a very obvious choice, right? I mean, why not? We were already talking about it. Now you protect the pawn, the rook's developed. So to me, it's not really too complicated, but are there other options? I'm sure there are, but I would just do that. I feel like, yes, the king is safe there. Your pawn's already on g4. You're not going to really go short. So I would play that without thinking for too long.
Yeah, there's also the possibility just to give this pawn away, and the moment black captures this, if captures right away without trading the bishop on f5, you have rook b1, and then rook can get on b7. So in that sense, you can make some like move that you might find it very useful if you don't want to castle on the long side. But then the question is what else to do here if you don't castle. You want to castle short side? Probably not, because you're gonna fall for h5 at some point. I was actually thinking, how about king f1, king g2 to keep the rook on h file in case if black opens up the h file, and just to make sure that your king is not in between the rooks and rooks are connected.
So you want to are you saying you want to give up this pawn, like king f1 here? Wow. Okay. So that's, I feel like it's a little bit annoying that they can take that pawn because we still have to do some work to get it back. But okay.
Right.
She went for the natural queenside castle. So she took a little bit of time, but obviously now she's not in her preparation. But at the same time, her position, I think, is quite intuitive as to like how to play it, right? And I can see that after castles, first of all, even h4, what about that idea, Anna? Like castles, and simply h4 and just go
Oh, I love that.
h5, make
Yeah.
them take, get amazing pawns, open the g file, and just attack.
That sounds like a plan to open up the H file in the checkmate the opponent's king. And you can't also castle on the long side because the bishop on f5 controls that. And if you capture the bishop on f5 and then castle long side, you give so much space in the center. And additionally, white can have this open up file. So yeah, this is the moment when black has to make really
Yeah,
important
this is really,
choices.
really tough for black. I mean, because the problem is the king. I mean, you don't want to leave it in the center forever. If you castle king side, you're castling into an attack. But the truth is, like, this is coming anyway. Like, these are moves that I will play, regardless of what you do right now. So I just don't think you have time for these maneuvers that you were doing in the other game. So she took.
Oh, she's going for it.
Yeah, it's a real concession. It really is. Like, I mean, to give white these strong pawns. Okay, she did it so she could castle queenside, which makes sense. But definitely, white can be happy with like 2 pawns on the 5th rank like this.
Yeah, and yeah, always there's rook g1, rook g7 threats. There's e6 threat out there. So, and what's very important, white's king is very safe here at this point, and black can't make any magic here to open up the position and weaken the white's king, because then black's king will be also very weak.
Yeah.
So after rook g1, should it be g6 here?
Yeah, if you play g6, which is the obvious move, I think white really wants to take a look at f6, because the bishop only has like a very bad square to go to. Now it's just trapped. And now, I mean, okay, you have to look at that. You have to look at that. I definitely don't love this position for black. I mean, it just feels very, very awkward.
Yeah,
Okay.
it does.
I mean, I'm already getting myself into a losing position, and I'm not really trying to do that on purpose. But I think like something like that. And if you take now, what do I take with? If I take with a knight, you have rook e8. I mean, I can even win a pawn, maybe. Knight's there, rook e8, knight c7, rook e2, knight d5. Okay, white's better there, but that's not like the best I can do. So figure.
Yeah, how about to hold the pawns on the 7th rank and play something like rook g8 in the current position, just to wait white, like, show me what you have here. Oh, did she play g6? No.
No, I don't think so. So she can play rook g8. I agree. That's probably the safer move. I mean, so that there's no f6. Also, she did something a little bit different.
She goes rook e8 and she's giving up the g7 pawn. That's suspicious move. Like, yeah, to give up this pawn, bishop f6 happens, and then she's getting e5 pawn instead of g7. That's a good straight.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, she basically wants to give up a couple of pawns and let the rook into the 7th just to get rid of this one, which I think is it's possible. And perhaps, now if white doesn't take the pawn, black will go g6, since you won't really have f6 anymore. So I think the critical line must be this move. And after bishop f6, let's say rook f7, now you can actually take in 2 different ways.
Right.
Which way should black capture Ketty? Maybe...
Well, to take with a knight, that kind of forces white to trade the knights.
Yeah,
and now you... Yeah, now you have option to take with the rook, attack the queen and the pawn on f5. But I'm kind of scared of the rook on the 7th rank, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's better. It's definitely better for white. Bishop f4 is a threat with rook c7 coming, because on rook f5, there's queen g4. So yeah, and unfortunately, you can't hide your king there because of bishop f4. So I get her idea for sure in trying to eliminate white's pawns, but white is up a pawn here, and the rook is very strong. And there's issues. There's more things that are Yeah, that are being under attack here. I think it will be very sad if she loses this game, which I think there's a decent chance will happen from how things are going right now. Just sad because, and I know this is just, it's a mistake I've done too, I think probably in blitz matches, but
Mhm.
yeah, definitely. You know what? I remember I did something stupid like this actually. It was, we were playing, let's see, we were playing Kazakhstan in the online nation. No, was it the no, not the online Nations Cup. It
Mhm.
was the online Olympiad, and in
Okay.
2021. So this was quite an important, I think, maybe quarter final match for us. Yeah, a strong Kazakh team, and I was playing Abdul Malik, and I played against her as black in the Sicilian in the first game, and I had a great opening and a great middle game, and and then I managed to lose. Okay, and then I won with white, and then our teams were facing in like the tiebreak blitz match, tiebreak blitz, right? So, and I get black again. And what do? I just repeat the same opening I did, because I had a great position from the opening, but
Yeah.
she makes an improvement. I didn't even really understand what it was about. And I just like lost immediately. Now, thankfully, it didn't matter because my teammates still carried the team and we got
Mhm.
through to the semis to face India. But you see, that was the same kind of mistake. Like I assumed that because my first opening had gone well and I didn't really spend any time in between the games, like looking at anything because you kind of think, oh, in blitz it doesn't matter, you just sort of play. But my opponent did look it up, and she just okay, so she used some computer prep that
Mhm.
to just win, and you feel very stupid, because you're really just losing to someone's computer analysis, like you're not even making them work, right? And I feel like
Yeah.
this is a similar situation. Like she had it, this line worked very well for her in the first time around, but you can't assume that your opponent's going to be like coming empty-handed. And you see that this second time around, it's just a totally different story.
Yeah, and also the fact that the coaches and the seconds are here at the venue. Like, if you have coach online, obviously you don't have much of the time to make a Zoom call or any kind of call. But the coach is here with a computer, with very strong computer, sees the games, and you just need one or two hints, and that's it. Just need not don't need anything more. So yeah, that's very interesting. Um, situation indeed. And as you mentioned, Connery could play any positions because she's playing a lot of openings, and she can very easily switch. And I doubt that she has only one opening prepared. I think she has some backup opening as well with Black.
Yeah. And would she really get a worse position doing something totally different than what she has here? I don't know. I doubt it. Because here you've given your opponent this luxury of their prep, and obviously, I think that Anna's coach has done a good job and came up with a really nice idea that is giving
Mhm.
her a good position. Um, well, that's how it goes. It's difficult to make these decisions on the spot and
Yeah,
in the
and
middle of a match.
I think also Maria might be helping her for this match. Why not? You have
Yeah.
a you have a Grandmaster sister. And in fact, I was looking for some interesting facts about the players, and I find out that both of the players are coming from chess family. So we know that
Mm.
Muzychuk's mother and father, both of them are coaches, and also father of Connor Humpy is also a chess coach. So they have this tradition from the family. Their parents also played. That's something very, very
Yeah.
nice to know and very interesting.
I am quite surprised by this move. It is like a rather passive looking queen retreat. So I was trying to figure out what's wrong with taking. You let the
Mhm.
knight in, and let's say you take another pawn. Now I assume what she didn't like about this, like one of these kinds of moves, right? She probably really didn't like this, and it looked dangerous to her with the knight coming in. I,
Was there knight c4 move
Knight c4
instead?
as well. I mean, I guess you have to go bishop e3. I don't see what else
Hmm.
you can do. You probably have to go here, right? Yeah, and I
Yeah.
mean, I do understand that she didn't like the look of this. Like, there's no d4 because you're taking here, so I guess that saves you. But yeah, I mean, of course, it all looks kind of scary. It's the principled way to play because you're actually up 2 pawns and you got bishop versus knight. So, like, if you can make this work, maybe even this move, and just sack the exchange. Although you don't even have to sack the exchange. I wonder if you're still better if you do because. I mean, I think you still have a nice position even if you do that, and you don't even have to do that. You can just play king b1. So there's that, and then maybe d4. D4 doesn't seem to threaten anything that special. So queen f1, I feel like is a bit of a hesitant move from Anna. She leaves this bishop alive and puts her queen in a rather passive square, but still, it's not the end of the world. But I think Humpy should be happy to see this move.
Yeah, it's kind of passive move, and Anna had 10 minutes on the clock. She decided to save this time for later on and just get out from the pin. And now it is Connor who's taken her time to think of her next move. I was actually thinking, can Black somehow start to go after a 2 pawn at some point and just to build up some kind of attack there?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Black needs to be doing something on the queen side or in the center. That's where they have their advantage. I don't think there's any point for Black to try to get passive here. And there's also the issue of, how much of an idea is this? I guess that gives you a tempo, which is nice. So there's no time for bishop f4. So do we need to try to like keep this bishop on the board? And how would we do that if we could? And then there's also, let's not forget, these kinds of ideas for white, right? That seems quite annoying. So Black definitely needs to act quickly here, I think, Ketty. The problem is every time you
Black
play...
push? Oh, she's going queen to a5. I was thinking and wanted to ask how about to push d4 right away. But queen a5.
Yeah, every time
kind
you
of
push
forces.
d4... Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Every time you push d4, like, you got to watch out for this, but I guess they're going to be taking on c3, right? So queen a5. Well, do I like it? Yeah, sure. It's a normal move. I mean, we're playing rapid chess, so it's not going to be perfect, but king b1.
Yeah, I was thinking about queen a5, king b1, and then queen a4 move to just get this queen other side of the board. Like there's queen e4 check. You can get the knight on a5, knight c4, and somehow to relocate the pieces on the board.
Yeah, so what do we think like Humpy's going to go for here? This move doesn't really do anything at the moment. It'd be nice to have like a rook here, but that's really hard to get. Going there,
Yeah, it takes some time.
just allows you to take and the queen is hit. So okay, queen a4, yeah, that makes some sense. I mean, it makes sense to me. I see the computer is not loving it, but I definitely understand what Humpy is doing. I wonder what we're gonna do here. Is it taking? I feel like that's giving Black a pretty good initiative. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what it feels like. Knight g5 is interesting to cover that, or maybe queen d3.
Yeah, queen d3, although steps on c4 if Black was planning to do that, or also d4 can be a little bit more tempting for Black to play. Maybe yeah, knight g4, g5 looks very nice, and you can always sneak in on e6 square if you have that opportunities to.
Yeah, it's a more aggressive option. I think it's the most aggressive option that White has, and I do think Anna will play it because once you realize that, okay, you don't really want to take, because it helps the knight get into a good position, gets a tempo. If you're not going to be taking, then I think that knight g5 makes sense. Now, if you take and rook h7, right? How exactly does Black handle this? Does it queen e4 and d4? Is it?
Yeah, that's this possibility to do.
Is it this right away?
Also, there's c4, knight d3 to go after b2 pawn. Lots of options.
Yeah. So I think we're not going to see that. It wouldn't really make sense from Anna's point of view, but knight g5 makes sense.
Yep, it does. And it is. She goes bishop g5. And
Okay.
Wenjun is not very fond of this move.
Okay, so let's figure out why. She's attacking the rook, which is kind of natural. Well, I suppose the rook can always go there in the worst case, which seems okay, although the computer hated that. So what was there? Well, let's just check. Wow.
Oh, wow. I just checked it.
Wow. Well, there's no way Black would ever find this, guys. This is a pure
No.
computer line. This is insane.
No.
Sack a bishop and then sack the rook? What? Yeah. No, that is not within like what someone is gonna think of. And the idea is like that you're actually better here.
Yeah, you might win this position. Wow.
I mean, that's insane. So no wonder Humpy didn't go for that. That's just one of the craziest lines like ever. So she went here instantly, didn't even consider bishop c3. Well, yeah, why would you? And
yeah, why would you consider this really crazy?
And I think, you know, the, bishop g5 in that case is just a really good move because she disconnected the rook. So there's ideas of rook e1. Now Black's going to be in an annoying pin. There's even queen e2. And yeah, in that sense, her move bishop g5 is actually a great idea because you see better than all the other moves because there was just no way that someone was going to find such a move with like 5 or 6 minutes on the clock or even in a class.
And then d4 is also very computer like move. Like it is crazy.
All right.
So, all right. Oof, what happens after rook e1 here?
Yeah, rook e1 is great because it also covers e4 and it pins the bishop. And you're already having some.
Oh, she goes for another pawn on h7.
Okay, that's a little weird. Whoa, that's a weird move because it doesn't. Oops, sorry about that sound. That's a very strange thing to go for this pawn, which doesn't feel that important when this square is like, and the whole file is so important. So she goes here. I'm really shocked by that after her great move bishop g5 to go rook h7 because it just gives more options to Black, but maybe. Maybe
it's another chance now, Irina, to play bishop c3. It is still possible to make such a move.
It is possible. I mean, it's an interesting idea because now her rook is here. So in a way, it's actually it's actually a lot easier to think of this, a lot easier because the rook is so close to the king. So I do think there's some chance, but she's going to have to go against her nature a bit, Humpy. She's going to have to sack material, really sit and calculate here and, realize that this is the moment, like this is it. She's got to do it or things are going to go downhill.
Yeah, she has to feel this as the rook was on the 6th rank. It's just ready to get into the game and she is probably considering somehow to get rid of this knight from c6 square.
This move might be even easier, I think. Yeah, I think knight b4. I really think she can find it. I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't think this is too computer-like. Like it's obvious that if you take
she goes for it. She goes for it. Bishop to c3 is on the board. This is amazing move.
Nice. Wow. No, because it's like this is the king, the queen is here, and the rook is there. The rook being there is really the big sign. So Anna's move is like a huge miss. And I don't know. Now she's actually supposed to be fighting for the draw because it's quite clear that Black has the initiative. Now, in terms of where this knight is going to go, because there's all kinds of moves. But I think this one is like if Humpy wants to make a draw, this one looks pretty good because if you take it, well, first of all, Black has at least perpetual, but I guess, checkmate is even better.
It's even more, yeah.
And
yeah, checkmate is better, yeah.
You're attacking this pawn. So this looks super dangerous. Like if I was white here, I would just be so scared. But I guess there's this move. I guess you're surviving, but this, I mean, okay, now your king is totally open.
Knight c3.
Yeah, and
I can
like,
hardly breathe at this point, really. This is a
yeah,
crazy
in the worst case,
position.
you pick up this knight. I mean, the king is totally open. You definitely have like perpetual. That's a simple enough move, right? So knight b4. Now there are like this one, like what's the idea of it? Is it that your queen goes, I think the queen goes to c2. Like if they take rook b6, and actually queen c2 is really powerful. So black even wins. So
Yeah,
actually,
queen is so misplaced on f1 square. Look at this. Like cannot guard any of the weaknesses. Um
yeah,
so
this is so
this is
interesting, says Over the Board Speedrun. Yeah, well, literally the most amazing scenario has just happened, guys. It doesn't get any better than this. I mean, Humpy getting such a big chance, and now she's the one attacking, and that's the role that Anna likes to be in normally, and instead Humpy is forced into this role, and she must be like being like, wow, I mean, I got this chance. But Anna is just trying to make sense of this now, realizing what she's done, losing such an important pawn. Now her king is in danger. And after pawn takes c3, she's figuring out, like, okay, what am I doing against these various knight moves? But she really does have to take on c3 because not taking her position, I mean, just with those pawns is just worse, right?
Oh, yeah, and also weakens even more the dark squares and a2 pawn and everything. I was actually thinking, what else can be played? And this bishop stops anything to happen. It controls a1 square, and also queen is quite powerful on a4.
Yeah, like
Really
amazing, like that
don't
white, like
see.
on this move, white has to find, let's say, something like this, which just leaves the knight hanging, first of all, which already looks like really unappetizing. And then you have to find rook h6, for example, to like not be worse, which is like that's a really tricky line. And black doesn't even have to go for that. They can start with that. And then you got to put your queen here. And then, I mean, on this move, it just looks like you're, I don't know, in trouble, right? Because you can't take the rook, it's protected. You can't take the knight, it's checkmate. And you got to go there. And then, okay, here you're like surviving as white. And you're actually fine because you got this F pawn. So, I mean, it's super exciting, guys. We're in for the next, 10 minutes or less. We're in for something really, really, really tense. And I don't know how Anna is going to get over this shock, because that's what it is. She must be in shock right now. She's down to 2 minutes, actually.
And this is getting really dangerous territory. She has to make the move right now. Although we have this increment on the clock, the position is so tough. She has to find some unreal moves after b takes c3, and yeah, obviously it's also very hard, Irina, to switch the mood and switch your mind, because she was having big advantage and she was totally feeling it, and just one move, rook h7, turned the table, and now she's the one who is struggling with the king. It's not only just she's losing pawn or something, she has very weak king on b1 square.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's just incredible that like she would go for this pawn instead of like some move that just pins the bishop and gets the pieces out, right? Like it just felt like, I mean, just control that square, bring out the queen, use the pin. Like, just the pawn is not that important. She's already up a pawn. So she's really paying the price, guys, for that greed, because we know material is not the most important thing in chess. And remember that passive queen? Well, now it's a problem that the queen is so passive, because this king is feeling very much on his own. And the only question is, like, for Humpy, I mean, she must be feeling the blood right now.
Yeah.
You know, but
And she probably looks at the clock with one eye.
Yeah, so look at that. Anna decided not to
Anna's...
take the pawn. She just was too afraid of that, of making objectively the worst move, but at least psychologically, the the king feels a little bit safer.
Yeah, Irina, one of our viewers points out the chair of Anna, which visibly moves and shakes a lot.
Yes.
So, oh yeah, that's really tense situation for now, for Anna indeed. And another comment is like, if that was me, I would have a heart attack already. But when you play, you just have this instinct to survive, and you're not thinking like, I'm gonna have a heart attack right now. So you don't worry, guys. She's gonna be fine.
Yeah, so she went queen a5. I think it's important for Humpy to like kind of play quickly, keep the pressure on Anna. I mean, her position is better. It's obviously not over at all. But she doesn't want to like get into a 30-second each kind of scramble with Anna. That's just not going to be good for her. Anna finds the good move. So for Anna's fans, like this is actually a really good move. I don't even know. Yeah, Humpy, that's why this move would have been better. Humpy should have kept that square under her control. I think she made a big mistake in going there and allowing this move. And now she's got to find this. Literally has got to find
A3,
that. Yeah.
Bishop c1
and then back
queen
to
b4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Only way to be better. So she has to find queen a3 because if you go back, I am going to trade with you. The d5 pawn is going to hang. That's not really an option. I don't know. Going into the pin, I don't even want to look at that. Something's going to happen on the e file. So there is knight b4. A4. That rook d7 is actually interesting and can be done. But queen a3 is the best move out of all of Black's options.
Yeah, let's see what she chooses now. She has to see this queen b4 idea to control. Oh, she's going knight b4.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
She didn't use that queen to pull the bishop away. But her knight is protecting d5, so that's why she can go rook d7. But that was a big miss from Humpy. That was really a big miss because now, I mean, maybe she's thinking she can go like rook c6 to guard c7, but now the queen can come in. I mean, white's not even getting mated anymore, and she's still got all those pawns on the king side
Extra
and the active rook.
King side, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is
too many pieces of white on the king side and none of the black's pieces on the king side. That's funny looking.
Right. No, I mean, this was such a big miss because, okay, I think she could have found that. It is a checkmate in one threat. There's hardly any way to deal with it, right? And if they go back, okay, it's great to get the bishop back and just not let him come back. Like that would have been the way to do it. So, okay, we might see anything in this game. Of course, Anna doesn't have a lot of time, but they are getting 10 seconds per move. So that's
pretty much for the increment.
Yeah, this is a bad move that she just played, but a very natural
queen
bad
b5,
move.
Yeah,
queen b5, and then if you take, you force the rook out of there and you get rook c7. And I just feel like this is a very obvious move. Like she will play that. It activates the passive queen. It like gains a tempo. It's just the most obvious thing in the world to do.
It does, and it also attacks then the rook on c6, and there we go. We have the move on the board, and black is pretty much forced to take the queen, because if you move this queen back on d8 and try to save the queen, then queen b7 is a checkmate, in fact. So not much of the options here for black, indeed, but to capture the queen.
There is queen b6, and I also have to say there is this move that is far from obvious, like rook here, because you're actually making your own threats on the second, and they can't take your rook. And believe it or not, like white has to start like going back. Now the computer says this is winning for white. But the idea is, I guess, if you take the bishop, then I take your rook. And then if I go back, you take, like, this is so far from obvious. Yeah, this is really not obvious. And I think the idea is like
Knight D2 now.
Yeah, you're gonna finally try to mate. That's actually a crazy line that like, I mean, Anna can find it because it's sort of like only moves, but to assume that she but she's not gonna really be able to calculate it. Like I think it will look dangerous to her. That's what Humpy just went for the trade, and I got no doubt that Humpy's bringing in that rook. She just does it. And
we
I
have
think
it on the board.
With 30 seconds left, like, I mean, it's not completely obvious that all these moves are great, but Anna played
She
very
is going
quickly.
for it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
now,
wow.
is she gonna? But here's the question. That's what's not obvious, though. Is she going to take the bishop, or will she have the conviction to take the rook? Because bishop d2 was pretty easy, but right now you can take very safe moves. Rook d2. That's probably my guess is she'll do that. I mean, but will she have the time to calculate out this b takes c6 move?
Oh, the second's on the board. She has to make the move, and then she has to find out this knight d2. That's a pretty tough move to find.
She did it.
Takes.
Wow.
Wow.
Nice. Very
Look
nice.
at this.
Very
Bishop
nice.
to c3.
Rook
what
g1.
she's doing, she took the pawn.
And knight d2 here. Knight d2 is the key.
Yeah, knight d2. This is the final.
Oh, no, she didn't do
she
it.
She won.
Whoa. Whoa, she's allowing this. Well, she's allowing this, which means that this is a draw. This is a draw. She just allowed a perpetual.
Wow.
Because knight d3, knight f2, and you know, the famous knight perpetual.
Yeah.
Well, Humpy's going to play rook b2 because there's literally nothing else to do.
Rook b2 is the only move. You cannot do anything else. You have to give it check. And then knight d3 is also only move here to find. Oh, no. And we have Humpy on the screen.
There's no
so focused.
There's no checkmate. There's no like winning the rook or anything because the rook is protected. So yeah, I think she's just gonna go for it. Wow.
What a game. What a game. And what?
Whoa. Yeah, no, it's a draw. It's a draw. There's no way for Black to avoid the draw.
Yeah.
But amazing. You see, there was something tricky about that, like finding that you give up another piece, right? And she actually didn't seem to really think long. She didn't have a lot of time, to be honest. But I mean, super exciting. It's a super exciting game. I think Humpy can be thrilled to just escape with a draw but also Anna can also be thrilled to escape from after bishop takes c3.
There was a shock.
Wow.
There was really the shock, but she found this b3 so unnatural looking move to allow Black to do whatever on the dark squares. What a game we had.
That was
I thought
good stuff.
First game I thought was the most tense, but I think I have new favorite game in this match, and this one is absolutely favorite. And we still don't know who is going to go to the next stage and play against Leiting. So 3 draws in a row.
Guys, let's just show again like the winning move. So Anna made the mistake of going there right away, trying to get that checkmate, but allowing rook b2. She could have given up her knight like with that block. Now, why is this a better move? Well, she's still threatening that. And no matter if Black takes with the rook, I think we just take the rook and go f6, right? So we have another passed pawn that we can use, and that pawn is going to win the game for us.
Yeah, Black cannot really stop it, right?
Right. And on bishop d2, now this is blocks. It's a beautiful interception theme, and then you go there, and well, now you just win. And I guess on this move.
Just take?
Can you take it, or is there a perpetual?
So tricky. I think
there's actually perpetual if you take it. How does that work again? Is it oh my gosh, it's knight a2. It's knight a2. And we get that same theme. That is so intricate, guys. Incredible that the rook and the knight set up a perpetual here. So you see, there's even another chance for Anna to make a mistake, because now instead of taking the bishop, she's got to find taking the bishop's not good. I got to move it with the pawn. Well, yes, but that's a lot of, it's possible to find, but in a rapid game with this amount of pressure and time pressure. It's pretty much a very tall order, I think, for her to find all of that with the amount of time that she had left.
Yeah, a lot of nerves. I think it's decent results to have draw in this match, and everything will go up to the last rapid game now. In case if we have a draw in that game as well, then we're gonna see the bullet. Sorry, not bullet, not today. Blitz version of it of the tournament of the day. So very very exciting. Do you still think, Irina, that this match can end with the last game now in the rapid?
No, I'm thinking there's a very good chance we're going to go to Blitzketty, like you said. I mean, Humpy being white, I think it's coming down to nerves, right? Like, who is going to handle the stress better? Because you see, the games are getting more stressful. Like, this is already the kinds of games that kind of both players should make them feel kind of unsettled. I mean, they were both in a lot of danger. They got down to seconds, and, you know, they've already been playing for 3 games. So it's really coming down to nerves, you know? And yeah, I think there's a reasonable chance we might see blitz, but also reasonable chance things might get decided in this 4th game.
Yeah, because we definitely had very exciting 2 games and one more or less equal game, and now players are having rest time. They only have 10 minutes. Can you imagine to cover from this much stress for both players? It's probably not possible, but they have to focus about another last game here today in the rapid portion. So yeah, quite tough day for these 2 players.
I hope Humpy's coach is going to give her a more interesting line against this Queen's Gambit that Muzychuk has been doing. We'll see. Actually, guys, we're going to take a break, and we're going to see in a few minutes what Humpy's going to come back with the white pieces, because I don't think that she can afford to give up the white pieces as easily as she did the last time. So we'll see you guys in a few minutes.
Now you can use gifts from the biggest chess stars on all your favorite platforms. Just search chess.com and your favorite chess star on Discord, Twitter, WhatsApp, and more to find hundreds of gifts from chess.com's biggest broadcasts and events. Nepo, Danya, Fabi, Anna's, and even me, Danny. Try it today.
Welcome back, everyone. This is 2022 FIDE Women's Candidate Tournament Pool A, and we do have tie breaks between Conor Humpy and Anna Muzychuk, who, by the way, just started the game, and we saw the handshake. And Irina, this is the last game of the rapid segment, and here we have once again very, very similar position as we had earlier.
Yeah, interesting. Well, now the difference is that they don't have the knights out. So Anna is still going for the same kinds of line. She's going for this pawn sack line with queen a4. Well, the theory here goes, I think bishop d7, queen d4 takes, and I guess white can, the difference is that white can take the pawn with a queen. Although, are they going to, or are they just going to play knight f3 and go into something a little bit safer? I think this is not a great practical choice if you don't have a lot of preparation. Like, given that Anna, you see, she didn't play this move anymore because she knew Humpy was going to take, right? There was going to be no more knight f3. So the fact that Anna clearly prepared these types of very forcing lines, it makes me think like Humpy, yeah, I understand that taking this pawn might be the best move according to the computer. Okay. I was going to say my approach would have been like, I'm just going to develop. Like, I just want to play a game. Okay, I'll give up some part of my advantage and, we'll play this isolated pawn position. But Humpy plays the principled move. She takes the pawn and I guess like queen d1, I think is the move here. I guess, well, maybe that's fine. It's certainly the principled way that we've been taught to play this line. This is the problem for Black, that they lose this pawn.
Yeah, I just want to check it out. Queen d1 is actually has been played here. And we have kind of starting position for white, and white pretends that nothing happened, but she has a pawn extra in the pocket.
Yeah, Black has
So
some initiative
why
here.
exactly? Yeah.
And
Hey, I wanted to ask why exactly Black chose this opening to give a pawn and to fight in this position.
I think just for the rapid game, she has the initiative, right? Oh, interesting. She goes short. There are ideas where you castle long. Yeah, I don't know exactly, because this is also pretty solid for white, especially with short castling, right? So she's just going to develop her pieces. Maybe even bishop d3 is interesting, but then there's bishop g4. Well, there's definitely compensation for Black, right? You just kind of bring your rooks to the open file. You have better development. And so for a rapid game, initiative is really important. And obviously, this is her preparation. So I do think, as preparation, it makes sense, like it's something where, Humpy's going to feel a bit uncomfortable having to defend against this initiative. I mean, if she can neutralize it, keep the extra pawn, yes, she'll be happy, but she still has to do a lot of work to get there.
That's right. So this actually tells me that we're gonna have another complicated game here. As it's not even material, and Anna seems to be ready to fight at any cost for this match. As she was fighting for these days, right? She needed to win. There was some chances. There was long days, and finally she got this chance, and obviously she wants to use it. Why not? Knight c6 has been played. I was thinking actually maybe Black wanted to move this bishop away as the queen is on d1, but she finalized the development first and brings the knight.
I would find this position to be annoying to play as white. In a rapid game especially, and against and unless I had computer prep here, I would just find it annoying to be playing this concrete type of position, because clearly you're in your opponent's prep. I don't know, I mean, that's why to me, like, this decision to take the pawn, it's understandable, but I also feel like, is it really so bad to just like play something like that? And play some moves. Maybe they don't have any big advantage, but just put something on the board. I don't know. Well, we'll see. I don't. The players they know best.
Yeah, they do, and maybe she has played this kind of positions earlier. I was actually checking what white can play here, and it's so many moves I've played already. According to the database I have right now open, it can be some of like a3, bishop d2, knight d4, queen c2, knight d5, queen to b3, and
Wow.
knight to b5. Like almost every move.
Yeah, I can see that there's nothing like one specific thing that white really needs to do. Obviously, white's issue is the development, right? The development
Yeah.
and the queen. I would say also the queen's position is pretty precarious here, so it does make sense. You can consider moving it, but again, the bishop, there's this kind of initiative for black, and I just hate the idea of giving the initiative to a player like Anna Muzychuk. Like,
Yeah, cannot agree more, really.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing if this was like a totally random position which Anna didn't know anything about. Like, okay, but obviously she knows something about it because she chose it, right? So that's
and to me these games like to overall picture for me is that Connor is the defensive side.
Yeah.
So far, and
other than the first game, right?
Yeah, first game.
Her opening was
there
very
was
good
a
in the
moment.
first game.
Yeah, true.
But you know what what it is that I think that she's not. I'm not sure that she's actually talking to her coach between the games, because we see her back at the board earlier than Anna always. She seems to be just kind of like sitting there and meditating or thinking. I'm not really sure that she's going anywhere to consult with her coach, and it definitely looks like Anna is. So that could be the difference. I mean, maybe that's what she decided, that she was just going to play this match on her own and like figure things out and not, get all bothered with last minute advice. But I also feel like that's kind of hurting her in the openings.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I wish I could just run down during the breaks and check it out, what is really happening, how they're preparing. And also it is like a really small space. They don't have a room, so they could go and consult with the coaches. So yeah, that's very interesting actually. I might get these details for upcoming days and share that because obviously we need to know all kind of information about the chess players, because then we can have some kind of picture. Like if you say if what you said is true and Conero is not getting the help of the coach between the games, that is really tough. The tough situation for her.
Yeah, well, it's my impression, but maybe she is, and this is just what that what it's ending up in. But it just feels like after that first game, okay, the second game doesn't really count, but the third game that she went into that again, that really makes me think, and that we saw her at the board so early, that makes me think that she just didn't talk to anybody. And now this game, well, I don't know. This game is kind of a different story because, of course, she did change something, but it looked like Anna was prepared for that too. And so that's not necessarily something they could have fixed in like a couple of minutes. So, this was more like over the board decision making. Should I take the pawn, which I know is like supposed to be, the main move, or not, just to get out of Anna's preparation? Well, she took the pawn. Like I said, it's probably not something that she could have realistically talked about with her coach. But here we are, and she chose to move queen c2, stopping bishop f5. I guess a knight b4, there's maybe queen b1 is the idea.
Oof, this queen looks to be stuck in between the pieces.
But it's not too bad. We can get rid of the knight soon. And what other moves are there? Like bishop g4. I guess we go h3.
Yeah, there's move rook to c8 that has been played and looks quite tempting as well to bring the rook and just occupy the another open file. But
Rook
oh yeah,
AC8,
okay,
yeah.
she's
Rook AC8 here. Yeah, I guess on Rook AC8, I'd probably play something like A3. Like, I really don't want to look at knight B4 all the time. So, yeah, this line is interesting because just to go here again, if we, I'm sorry, not bishop H5, but like knight B4, because if you go queen B1, then bishop H5 seems annoying.
yeah, with the idea to trap the queen, and I don't really see how you can avoid their knight. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Bishop
not
D2
obvious,
no,
right?
no, you can't do that.
Oh, she went with rook AC8. And now I really expect A3. It's just such an obvious move. And, we know that knight B4 is like a major idea for black at all times. So I think Humpy will play this move in fairly quickly compared to her other things.
Right. A3 has been played.
Yeah. So, all right. So what can we say here, Ketty?
Oh, it's a heavy theory. What I see now. Okay, let's now count how many moves black have after E3. Bishop to D6, knight to E5, bishop to G4, A6, bishop to E6, G6, and I was not even done with the list of the moves that black made. Knight to E5, and this is really heavy theory because I can see a lot of games still after knight E5.
Wow. So yeah, I mean, this seems to be the idea. Try to remove the knight that is the guardian of the king and try to get an initiative against white's king, because these pieces are undeveloped. So let's see what I think about here, Ketty. Well, I would think, okay, knight d4 is interesting and seems quite okay to me. I was gonna say I would think about like b4, and I don't know, it could be terrible. I would just check it out. With the idea like to try to develop, right? Because, well, development is kind of important. But anyway, she goes knight d4, which I totally understand as well, avoiding the trade, and knight g6. Anna slowed down, but she's still playing pretty quickly.
Yeah, it seems to be still her preparation, as she's actually not spending any second from the last 3 moves. Knight to G6, obviously, yeah, wants to go to H4, and I was thinking, is she preparing some kind of bishop D4 trade? Because it seems like too many pieces of white are just not coordinating so well.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is probably not a threat yet. It actually would maybe help white out by opening up the bishop, unless you've got some sort of tactics right away. Okay, bishop. Whoa, she just blundered. She just blundered.
No.
Oh my God, the match is over.
And now bishop D4. Is this really working? No.
Oh, that's such a sad blunder. That was so sad. That is so sad. That is so basic. It's a piece. It's a whole piece.
Wow. And the moment white captures back this, I feel so bad. I just said this gonna be 94.
Oh man. Oh
hanging.
Man. That is like a pure piece. That is a real gift. And
wow.
Man. Well, look, I'm not shocked. Like we said, actually going into this game, that this is all about the nerves, right? But it's also about, the opening approach, that she handed, her opponent a position where her opponent gets to play this for the initiative. And obviously Anna knew these ideas, and the blunder doesn't help, but this is what happens when you're under pressure. This is what happens.
Oh, we have a handshake.
Wow.
This is over for Connery Humpy. She could never imagine, I'm sure, that she would end the tournament with a piece blunder in one move.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Wow.
We have Anna Muzychuk, the hero of a day to many of our viewers, as she used to be a Twitch streamer, and she has a lot of people who supports and follows her games.
Yeah.
I'm running out from the words, Irina. It's so dramatic.
All right.
Really.
Let me try to add a few words. Teddy. Yeah, look, guys, this is what happens when people are under a lot of pressure, right? They just do things that you don't expect. I mean, Humpy played that move, Bishop D2, rather quickly. Let's just show again. She was trying to get this bishop out, and unfortunately, there is a pin that is hiding on the C file that is unearthed by this trade. And the trade wasn't dangerous before, but I guess that's another point of the move knight g6. That's a hidden point, that when the bishop interferes with the queen's defense of e2, you can actually just take a piece. And she just resigned because, well, yeah, you don't even have queen g6 here because of queen d2, and you're still just down a piece. And well, there's nothing. There's nothing here. You just lost a piece. It's a very sad ending to a very tense and close match. I think we do have the correct winner, though, Ketty. I just felt that motivation, that determination from Anna. Her openings just seemed better selected. Her only problem was that first game. And once she survived that even pretty easily, after that, she held the initiative. She held the second game very easily with black. Like Humpy just gave away those white pieces. Then she was very close to winning and also to losing the third game. I mean, the third game was where the match was going to be decided, really. Like if Humpy would have taken advantage of her chances there, she had her chances. When Anna blundered bishop c3 and then made not the best move, and she was way down on the clock. I mean, that was Humpy's big chance, right? So the match could have gone in a different way, and then she could have played very solidly with white. That game ended in a draw, and then it was such a nervy game, that one, that I think maybe she just ran out of gas, for this last one. But again, it's about the approach, right? You see how I didn't like this queen d5, not because it's a bad move, it just, is it the right move for this situation? Like, do you want to hand your opponent a position that they've prepared where they get to, sack a pawn and have the initiative against you? Not necessarily a great practical decision. Well, of course, you can always second guess things, but that was what my impression was, that the openings, who has the initiative from the openings, it felt like it was Anna throughout this match, and then she finally broke through.
Yeah, I agree with that. And quite tough days for the ladies indeed, but seems like after yesterday's winning the classical game, Anna took this opportunity. Let's take a look once again what will be in the next days and how the match will look. Here we have Anna Muzychuk and Lei Tingji going to fight for the place to play in the final against the winner of another pool B. So it's going to be another tough match and another 4 games ahead of us.
Yeah, so we're going to have the match, Anna Muzychuk versus Lei Tingji. It's quite a nice storyline, guys, because she's going to be playing the lady that defeated her sister Maria. And, it's kind of like a second Muzychuk attempt at Lei Tingji. I do think it makes for a nice story. And, I'm sure her sister will stick around to help her.
Oh, yeah, she's staying in fact this morning. I had a little chat with Maria, and she seemed to be more open because earlier day she was more like very focused and not very communicative. But today she was a different person, and she's very happy to be here in this beautiful city, and just enjoy the moment and also support her sister for the next stage. And let's take a look at the schedule, in fact, and find out when do we have the next games. And here we have November 1st is the first game of the match Anna Muzychuk and Lei Tingji, and we're gonna have 4 classical games next days in a row, and obviously we're gonna have a day off tomorrow. That everybody really needs that day off.
Yeah, I've been doing commentary from last Tuesday, Ketty, and I'm looking forward to my day off tomorrow. I will actually be back, guys, for the women's candidates for game 3 again. So interestingly, they gave me game 3 and 4 and, possibly the tie breaks for this one. and that's what it's also going to be for next week. So, and for the next couple of days, I will be doing commentary for the Global Chess Championships on Hikaru's channel, so you can find me there. That's going to be fun as well. So about this match, about this. Oh yeah, well, let's bring that up. The Global Chess Championships is the next big event, brought to you by Chess.com. It's going to be taking place in Toronto. And we got a great team here. I think this must be the commentators,
team.
right? This is not the players. They haven't replaced they haven't replaced.
Yeah, Fabian Caruana got us confused, right? To appear as a commentator, not as a player. But we have rest of the well-known commentators and the streamers covering the Global Chess Championship, which has amazing prize fund, $1 million. Oof. So exciting to see that show as well.
Yeah, that's starting on November 2nd, starting on Tuesday. And yeah, Hikaru is going to be playing in that alongside with a lot of the world's top players. I think the latest player to be playing is Sam Sevian, who got his spot when Aronian had to pull out at the last minute. So that's going to be super exciting, guys. Lots of rapid chess. I know you guys probably like rapid. And wow, what are my impressions from this match? First of all, I guess it's just the level of intensity it takes to go and play these tie breaks, right? It's certainly something I can relate to. I think the players did overall very well. I felt that like the drive more from Anna, because, well, she did everything she could, right? And her approach was to try to be solid as black, but also you see in this last game, I mean, it's also like a pawn sacrifice line that she was playing, so it's not like a very solid approach. It's quite an ambitious approach with the black pieces. But with white, Humpy gave up one game with white, right? That second game was like no pressure on white, and this game obviously also didn't work out. Her openings with black were all right. But again, getting into a lot of trouble in game 3. So I just feel like, the opening selection tells you something. And I felt like Anna was more focused in that opening selection, more ambitious. And I think, that's why I think the right player won. If I were Humpy, I would probably feel like, a bit sad about this match, because it's one thing to lose. It's another thing to feel like you just didn't quite do everything, before losing.
Yeah. It totally seemed like it was Anna's day. She showed great form, and she was eager to go to the tie breaks, to have a chance to go to the tie breaks, and she just used this opportunity. So, seemed also that she was well prepared. She was always the one who was changing the lines and the preparation, so that tells a lot.
Yeah.
And we see the outcome.
And I think, just yesterday, of course, that was a really big game that she won. She really got rewarded for that fighting spirit. I mean, she was in a must-win situation. She did some very hard things in this match. And I think she can be very proud of herself, for pulling that out, because certainly she was just, she was one draw away of getting kicked out of this tournament. And she was just like, nope, gonna do everything I can. She won
nowhere.
She won a really big game. She gave herself a chance today. And she played, like at a good level today in some difficult spots she had to go through in game 3. So, congratulations to Anna. I think we're in for an exciting match between Lei Ting-ji and Anna Muzychuk, guys. So we will be bringing that to you next week, as well as the Global Chess Championships. Ketty, it was a pleasure, guys. Thanks for watching. And I think you're eager to go and watch the Nakanepo World Championship. You go, and we'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.